Welcome to the Omega Studio News you can use. Okay, I am here. Welcome to the Omega Studio News you can use. I'm your host, Green Clemens. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for following me. Today is March 3/16, 2020. These are your stories. Okay, so first I want to say, let's see. All right, first of all, good morning to everybody who's out all across the land. Okay, I wanted to bring this story. I know a lot of people are like quarantined, self-quarantined. They're definitely, you know, I don't even know what I don't even know what word to use. But I can tell you that a lot of people are panicking and they are definitely uh, losing their minds. Okay, especially the administration. Now, when I say the administration, I'm talking about, current administration. And I want to show this clip because I don't know if you guys missed the press conference, but I think now this administration is doing a little bit too much. And I think this man is getting a little bit too beside himself. So I'm going to show you this video from last night's press conference. And you guys look what this guy did. Okay, look at this. Okay, and I think this is because Nancy Pelosi ripped up the paper behind him. So this is what the president is saying about fake news. Okay, let's go. Because I'm not really understanding what's wrong with this president, and I want y'all to see what this guy did on national television. Okay, this guy right here, okay, look what he did in response to social media and fake news.
I did what I said on Friday. The head of Google, who's a great gentleman, called us and he apologized. I don't know where the press got their fake news, but they got it someplace. But as you know, this is from Google. They put out a release, and you guys can figure it out yourselves and how that got out. And I'm sure you'll apologize. But
did y'all see what he just did? Hold on, let's go back to that again.
Correctly. It'll be so one release. And
look, this guy threw the paper on the floor.
A great gentleman
look at her face.
And he apologized. I don't know where the press got their fake news, but they got it someplace. But as you know, this is from Google. They put out a release, and you guys can figure it out yourselves.
He literally threw the paper on the floor.
But
the president threw the paper on the floor, disrespecting the media, the social media.
The Federal Reserve. I think it's terrific.
Again, let's watch it again.
As we spoke, I wasn't going to mention Federal Reserve or anything else, but this came out.
Who does stuff like this?
I want to thank the people at Google and Google Communications because, as you know, they substantiated what I said on Friday. The head of Google, who's a great gentleman,
look at the guy behind him and look at the lady. And then look at,
I don't know where the press got their fake news, but they got it someplace. But as you know, this is from.
He threw the paper on the floor, or he threw it at the press.
And you guys can figure it out yourselves and how that got out. And I'm sure you'll apologize. But it would be great if we could really give the news correctly. It would be so wonderful. I don't
understand that. I really don't understand that right now. You understand? And for him to do that, it's like, who does stuff like that? Like, here it is, you're supposed to be the commander-in-chief, professional, and then you're throwing the paper? Like, come on now, seriously. Okay? But anyway, if you guys are watching, please like the video, and comment. Good morning. How y'all doing? Today is March 3/16. Now, you guys know 3/16, the saying in the Bible, John 3:16, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believe in him shall not perish, but have eternal life. So if you guys can keep that message today on this day and all the other days, greatly appreciated. But that is the quote. Okay? All right. So I know a lot of people are definitely, really scared on this whole coronavirus thing, but I can tell you that New York City, the mayor of New York City has said that school will be closed from 3/16 to 4/20, a month. Okay, month that the school will be closed. Now, the next question is, what happens to the students who want the lunch, we have the breakfast and the lunch. So they say if the kids want breakfast and lunch, you guys can still go to the school. You guys can still go pick up the breakfast. You guys can go still pick up the lunch for those who are in need of it. So they still doing that. They're also saying that as of March the 23rd, that all the kids will have like access to an iPad. So therefore, what they will do is that they want the families to register the kids. Okay, they want them to register the kids. They want them to take them to the school so they can go get their lunch, and also they can get their iPads. And then not only that, they're also saying Google, Verizon, and other big time companies are definitely going to step up for internet. Okay, it's just a whole lot going on. I do know that they put not martial law in effect. They just said that the bars and the restaurants is going to close. What's up, people? They didn't do this when the common cold. They didn't do this with the flu. Why are they doing this with the coronavirus? When they share the same entity. You cough on someone, you sneeze on someone, and you catch the cold. Now everybody is like social distancing. Like they cancel everything. Like it was just real sour this week. Who missed the games? Who missed the NBA games? Their Broadway shows, going out to late night talk shows. Who missed that? It seems like now it is almost, it feels like a federal shutdown. That's what it feels like. But this time it's probably a national shutdown. But anyway, listen, the kids out of school. But listen, they're saying that the kids definitely. I know one time. I know the mayor had said that if there was large gatherings with kids in, the park, that the police officers going to go up there and say, "Hey, listen, it's social distancing. You guys should just back off." Like, what type of crap is that? You know, if you go to a child or you go to a teenager now with a police officer, they're gonna definitely be like, you know what, man, screw you, back off. Don't come to me. And then that's gonna give the officer a right to grab somebody and be like, yo, man, come here, give me your ID, let me check your information. We don't need that. Officers, leave these kids alone. Don't touch anybody. Don't go up to anybody. Just leave them be. Okay. If they want to be next to each other, they let them be next to each other. Okay. Other information is, my thing is this: if they're going to have remote learning, they never had this before. They have remote learning and they have the kids go out and definitely learn from an iPad. Okay. What happens to that information on that iPad? Are these students going to be credit? Okay. At the end of the school year. At the end of the school year, do they have to make these days up? Okay. My thing is this. I don't think New York is prepared for anything. I think once when they see the government make this, public announcement, they will definitely start to implement services. But they should have been did this, like I said, back in January when this was all, starting to hit the fan. But I want to say that right now, I don't believe that the government is doing enough. I don't believe that, they're doing enough. A lot of people are still they're still asking for test kits. A lot of states are asking for test kits. And I reported on my show before, I said, listen, you guys know that we had a couple of states that were not infected. Now, ladies and gentlemen, all the states in the United States, someone is affected. And just the other day, Newark, New Jersey, the mayor just announced that there was a new infection case there. So at this time, I want to go to the CDC. Okay, I want to go to the CDC because I believe it's very important that we understand what's going on. Even though I know y'all don't want to hear this, but listen, y'all need to. Okay, everybody's talking about it. I'm talking about it. I think we all need to because everybody's panicking and it's just ridiculous. Okay, so we're going to go to the CDC. I'm going to CDC, and you guys right here will have information. Okay, so shout out to everybody who's on. Jerome, what's up, Jerome? My cousin Jerome, how you doing? Let's put him up on the air. Jerome, it's killing too many people in a high rate. Yes, it is, Jerome. And also, I know you have a birthday coming up. Happy belated birthday. Well, not belated, but early birthday. I know you got a birthday coming up, and I know your brother got a birthday coming up, and I know Dorothy got a birthday coming up. So happy birthday. And also, when I made that cake for Ghetto Kitchen, that cake was for you. All right, so I give y'all a shout out. So yeah, so my cousin says it's killing too many people in high rate. You're absolutely right, Jerome. It is killing people, and definitely it is to the point where, I'm not really sure if it's it has to be more to this coronavirus. It has to be more to this. And a lot of people were saying, and I'm not gonna say nothing else on that, but people were saying that this was a man-made thing, man-made process. They were saying that the US Army created this. Then they said the China people created this. I don't know, but it's not something that just came out. It's something that's been here. Okay, so we're gonna go look at the CDC, right? And the CDC is definitely saying again that we must wash our hands right here. We must wash our hands to prevent it, and then outbreak. Hold on, let me just see what they're saying so far on the response of the coronavirus. And I do know that the CDC did, they put they finally went up and talked about some things. Because I was like, you know what, the CDC need to get up off and start talking to the American people about what's going on. So we see here, okay, sources of the spread of the virus. Okay. Coronavirus are large family of viruses that are common in people and many different species of animals, including camel, cattle, cats, and bats. So wait a minute, our cats could get the coronavirus? Our animals can get the coronavirus? Do we need to start putting masks on our dogs and cats and our animals? Unbelievable. Maybe it's just probably, anything that has an immune system can definitely be contagious. I don't want to hear that. Leave me alone. Stop it. Giving me some information. No, leave me alone. Okay, I see. Thank you. Okay, so the CDC, back to the CDC. The situation is that, yes, we just found out that the animals can get it. All right, let's see. Risk of explosion. The same, right? It's the same thing. Okay, so early information out of China. We don't want information out of China. We want information from the CDC from the United States. Okay, I know they were saying that there was false test kits. Let's see what they say in testing in the United States. As of March 15th, we see that every state is testing. Every state is testing. Okay, the numbers has gone up, completely gone up. Okay, and as of let's see, as of the 14, what is this? 00. Whoa, 311, 46. Look how these numbers just jumped. And this side right here is the laboratories tested in the states, and this is the laboratory tested for the CDC. And look how it just went to like double the numbers, triple the numbers from hundreds to thousands. Unbelievable. Okay, what else? School, workplace, community, CDC, according to the guidelines, large events and mass gatherings. It's really okay. So here, K-12 school and child care programs. Okay, so at all times, encourage your staff or community members to protect their health. Post signs, fever, cough, shortness, encourage people to stay at home. So listen, so they're telling people to stay at home. So listen, if they're saying to people, if you have a cold, or if you have these symptoms, to stay home, not to go to the hospital. Why do they want you to go to the hospital? I'm not really sure. Maybe because they was talking about that they don't have as many beds, or they don't have as many, the response that can assist the person in, this deadly virus. Okay, so they want you to create an emergency plan for a possible outbreak. A possible outbreak where? In your home? Limit events, meetings, require close contact. So that means you guys cannot be going to sex parties. Y'all cannot be going to orgies. Y'all cannot be going to any of those little gatherings because, you're going to catch the coronavirus. That's what they're saying. Okay, large gatherings. And those sex parties be having large gatherings, so you can't go there. Okay, and those orgy parties. We see it right here, canceling large meetings or events. I wonder what church was yesterday. I wonder how they handled their little organizations yesterday, because I heard that, and I read that Klepto Dollar was creating cash apps for people to send in their tithes and offering. What kind of crap is that? Okay, but anyway, okay, so high risk. If you are high risk, for those who have heart disease, diabetes, lung disease, and compromised immune systems, you need to be very careful when it comes to this virus, because it is definitely targeting the elderly. We have seen high cases. The majority of the people who passed away, people who have compromised immune system, and those over the age of 60. But still, that does not put everyone out of the woods. You possibly can still get it. But here they're saying every day. I'm just going over the CDC right here with you guys on ways of precaution. Make sure you wash your hands, guys. It's very important. Make sure when y'all do the hand wash, say ABCs. I did it up on my show. The last show that I did, I showed y'all how to do it. Wash your hands with soap, 20 seconds, especially after blowing your nose, coughing, or sneezing. If you have sanitizer, use that. Also, avoid touching your face, your nose, and your eyes, because definitely it comes in contact with the mucous membrane, and you don't even know it. Okay? Clean and disinfect your home. You should have been doing that. I don't understand why you need the government to tell you to clean and disinfect your home when you should have been doing that before. Okay? So, and germs, germs is everywhere. They want to clean the airplanes. They want to clean the trains. They want to shut all this stuff down because they want to clean. But when it's all over, it's like it's still gonna be there. The germs still gonna be there. It's not like they're eradicating the coronavirus. Okay, that's what I'm saying. All this shutdown doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. Okay. Because people are going to still come back after a month, 2 months, 3 months, and still gonna have the germ. There isn't any vaccine. Okay, they're still gonna be coughing and sneezing. Okay, and that's probably gonna make the numbers go higher. I'm just saying. Okay. For those who's looking for daytime TV show, don't even expect it. It's gonna be reruns. Okay. So just be on the lookout for that. So yeah, so the CDC is definitely telling you guys to do what it do and protect yourself. That's all I'm saying. Okay. For more information, you guys could visit the blog page on that story. Okay. So what's up in social media? Okay, so my next story is going to be, okay, I do see that my girl Nene Leaks is in the news yet again. This is because okay, so Real Housewives of Atlanta. So if you guys like Real Housewives of Atlanta, right? She is in the news yet again. Okay, I want to bring this up because I love my girl Nene Leaks. As she says, I have arrived and the spotlight is on me, honey. Okay? All right. So, Portia, we all know Portia, right? Portia is, let's go to the, let's see. And then, okay, so here we see Portia forgives Nene Leaks. Okay, Portia forgives Nene Leaks. Now, I believe that everybody, I mean, first it was Kenya, no, first it was Cynthia, then Kenya, now, no, first it was Candy, then Cynthia, then who else? Then Portia. They were all having like this whole charade with Nene. Like, I don't know if it's really she's going to be leaving or that they try to mend together. But here we can see in social media it says Portia Williams and Nene Leakes have a tearful reunion Sunday episode. The Real Housewives of Atlanta sitting down for the first time to discuss making arguments. And then we can see here, I did report that story there with Nene Leakes and Kenya Moore. But here it says, she says, I'm sorry, in quote, Leaks 52 told Williams, I love you. See, I don't know if this is a publicity stunt or it's just really her emotional side of her saying, listen, honey, I am done with the BS and we need to move on with our lives because we are just adults here and we just need to just go on. We both making money, okay? We have businesses out there. We don't got time for the nonsense. But hey, listen, the Real Housewives of Atlanta was based off and foundation off of the rhetoric, the drama, okay, the fiesta, the chaoses, okay. So here it says, Nene Leakes says, I love you, and I miss you so much. Portia Williams responded to Nene Leakes. And she said, I miss you much, Nene. It's been really hard without you. Okay, we can see the two lovely ladies right here, Portia right here, and Nene Leakes right here. All right, classy and sassy. Okay, mixed together, I believe, as in the words of Kelly Harrison or just Kelly, I'm here for the shit. I know they're here for the shit. Okay, so with that being said, let's see. I know, because she definitely found out that maybe because they feel that she's really making too much money and they really want to find out what's her salary. Like, is it really that complicated that everybody needs to be jealous? Need to be jealous on who's making what and where? I don't know. I guess when you have that type of money, you can go off the deep end and do stuff like that. I don't know. But here it says going to therapy with Dennis. Now, Dennis is her new boyfriend or now husband. She has a baby and they're saying that she's pregnant again. So, okay, oh, look at this. It says Nene fetching mom Portia was 6 days after she gave birth. Oh my God. I don't know if she gave birth already, but if it's possible, she probably did. Two kids. I have two kids. But she says that going to therapy with Dennis makes me think about the long-term value of a relationship, Williams told the viewers. The reason why I have been so hurt, it's supposed to be by Nene, it says be Nene, is because I value our friendship. So she loves the friendship. Can I tell you, these girls have been on in the spotlight from day one. Okay, even when Portia was with that other man. Okay, I don't know his name, but the guy with the things all over his body. All right, so he's not in the picture anymore. So they've been together for a long, long, long time. And with that being said, uh, it's just Portia really, really values the relationship between her good Judy, okay, from another mother, Nene Leaks, right here. These women did not look like this. But when you have fame and fortune and you have the news and everything, you have the social media and the press and everything following you, I guess they can just do what they want to do and they can say what they want to say. And at this point, they did that, and now these two women right here are coming together and they're saying, listen, let's hash our differences and move on with our lives. We are two extraordinary people. Okay, we are role models not only for our kids but for our fans and for ourselves. So we need to put that BS aside and let's move on with our daily living. So these two women right here put their differences aside. And again, as we see here, she says she was sorry. Leak says she was sorry. They forgive each other, and it is what it is. Okay. So I love the Real Housewives of Atlanta. All right. So moving right along. All right. So it's Monday. It just feels like with everything closed and shut down, like there's nothing. There is no library. There is no school. There is no games. There's nothing. Morning and nighttime. It just feels really like a ghost town around here. Like seriously. Okay. My next thing is this. For all you guys who I know, a lot of people are going to. Well, no. I want to put it like this. Listen, people. I know the census 2020 is coming out in the United States, right? And a lot of people definitely get real aggravated when people come knocking at your door and want to take a assessment to see who's in your home and you think that they're in your business. But no, they only release the hounds out when you fail to respond to what they sent you. And this is what they sending people. They're sending this out. Okay. If you receive one of these in the mail, okay, if you receive one of these in the mail, please fill this out. This is the censor. The censor. Okay, this is the censor. And if you don't want them to come to your home, okay, if you don't want them to come to your home, fill this out. Fill this out. It's not that long. Okay, for those who have people in their home, this is what you're going to get. You're going to get a booklet, and it's in English and Spanish. Okay, English and Spanish, and you don't even have to fill it out for everybody. You could just fill your part out because you're one of the person in the house, and then give it to the next person to fill out. Give it to Uncle Ray Ray, okay, and then you want Uncle Jojo or Auntie Mika. Okay, they can fill this out, and it doesn't take that long to fill out. They just want your name, your age, your sex, your date of birth, and your nationality, your race, and that's it. That's it. So if you have the censor, please fill it out. They're trying their best so they don't have to knock on your doors. They sending this in the mail send it out back to them so they can get the response. Or if not, they're going to be knocking on your door, and I know you're going to be pissed, like, hold up at the door. Stop knocking on my door. They're knocking on your door because you failed to answer this. But if you send this in today when you got it, or the other day, or the day before, and you filled it out properly, then they won't be knocking at your door. Or you can't go there because they're closed. Okay, so listen, United States Census 2020. Again, if you receive a Census 2020, fill it out because it's important, and it is the law to fill it out. And if you don't fill it out, they're going to send someone knocking at your door. And if you have someone knocking at your door to fill this out, then that means either somebody didn't respond to the mail or you just didn't get it. Okay, so that's the only reason why they're sending them to your door is because you failed to respond to the notice. All right. Happy birthday. Oh, happy birthday. Not my birthday. If you have a birthday, happy birthday. Michael Rivera, happy birthday. Okay, moving right along. All right, so let's get into, good morning, Daquan. How you doing? Daquan from the Los Angeles area, good morning. Okay, so I've touched on the CDC, I touched on Porsche, I touched on the administration. Yeah, I just couldn't believe what he did. It was just really stupid on that. That is funny. That is really, really funny. Like, he probably know his administration is done. And then the debate. I don't know if anybody's seen. I don't think anybody's seen it, but they probably heard it. Okay, because the debate between former Vice President and Bernie Sanders. Okay, they were having a debate without no audience. It was just them two back and forth. And a lot of people were saying that Bernie was doing his thing when it comes to Biden. But Biden announced in his little segment that he would announce if he became president that there will be a woman to be announced as vice president. And I was saying Stacey Abrams. That's what I was saying. I was saying Stacey Abrams. Because I think she'll do that. She will actually hold that position down as being the vice president of the United States. Not only that, she would make history as being the first woman vice president and the first Black African American woman to be vice president. So I believe Stacey Abrams is a good candidate for vice president. That's just what I'm saying. Okay, she will be a great candidate for vice presidency when it comes to the White House. Okay, she should be the president. But I'm just saying. Okay. So we did that, and then now let's go on here. So we do know that. Okay, hold on. Let me see this here. Okay, so I'm not really sure how to explain the whole price gouging thing. All right, I see an email here. And all right, how do you explain price gouging? And what are some tips you can give to your viewers? Okay, my thing is this. I will say, listen, common sense is common sense. If you go into a store and you see a hand sanitizer, $1.99, and they raise it up to $4.99, there's multiple stores you can go to. You don't even have to go to that store and buy that because it's not even that serious. But what you can do, okay, this is what the law says. You can report them. You can report them because you don't know if people are out there really buying this, thinking that I went to one store, they didn't have it. I went to another store, they didn't have it. I went to this store, their price was a little bit higher or lower or higher than what the price is here. So now I come to this store and now this price is $4 and they have the last one. It's not even that serious. Listen, too, they say report them. Then I know people are saying that they're making their own sanitize, they're making their own alcohol. Listen, Don't. Just don't, people. Don't. I've read so many stories where fires happened, people got burned, people definitely didn't know what they were doing, and it just got, don't make your own sanitize, leave it up to the company. Don't make your own alcohol, leave it up to the company, okay, to make it. Just go out there and find, search, and but Christ, you should already have this stuff already. You should already have disinfectant. You should already have bleach in your home. You should already have sanitizer in your home, soap in your home. And God, for how mercy, you should already have tissue in your home. Okay, so the tissue thing. Now, people, I had to ask the question. I was like, why is people buying so much tissue? They were like, well, the coronavirus give the diarrhea. Diarrhea. Tissue. I need to buy 80 packs of tissue because I'm going to have diarrhea for the coronavirus and I don't even have it. People are just going berserk. Stop it. Just stop it. I don't know what is going on, but people are just losing their natural minds. Like, what is this? Is this the new norm now? Is this the new norm? Like, everybody is definitely going to be isolated in their homes? I mean, what the is going on here? Okay, I want to move on to this next story because I wanted to talk about this. The next story, viewer discretion is advised. Photos, videos that you see here on this next part of the story is graphic. Viewer discretion is advised. Okay. So I've been following the story of the three LGBTQ and I, that's lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and questioning and intersect. Okay, there was a murder that happened of two gay men, and one transgender woman who was killed in Detroit, Michigan, back in May 25th, 2019. And Devon Kareem Robinson was charged with their murders. I've been following this trial on social media. I want to take you to this right here, right now. Okay, so I don't know if you guys know, but I can tell you, people, listen to me. First of all, let me just show y'all something. I just want to show y'all something. Okay, I've been following this trial. This trial here is the Devon Robinson trial, okay? And it is featured on Law and Crime Network. And I can tell you, I've been sharing a little bit of pieces, but I wanted to elaborate more on this story because I know that a lot of transgender people are being killed because of, I believe that of their their sexual orientation. And when I was watching the surveillance camera in the trial, I was like, you know what? First of all, I want y'all to see this. Okay, hold on. Let me just go there. Okay, so this is from Law and Crime. Okay, Law and Crime. And I want to go ahead and, matter of fact, I want to go ahead and play this right here so you guys could listen to this. I think it's very important that, let me see. I want to show y'all this, like, seriously. Just listen to this. Like, it's just really crazy. Now, let me see. Okay. All right. Go here and go here. Okay, so this guy right here, Devon Kareem Robinson, he actually killed, well, listen, this is the interview. I just want to put this in there.
Okay, she said, meet me around the corner, right? Did you know where you were going? No. Okay, so how did you know where to meet? Because they told me to block from when I got on the block. Car was blocked? Yeah. Okay, so they go around, and so you meet them over there, right?
This is from Law and Crime.
Are they outside the house, you meet them there, or are they already inside?
So what's happening is,
The outside, same 4 people. Yeah.
okay, so this guy right here,
Yeah, when I get there. Okay, so when you get there, they get out, right? Okay, so when they get out, who all get out? Everybody. Okay, so the front passenger who is, you know the name, Paris? Right. Okay, front passenger stairs, gets out. What's the driver's name? I don't know nobody else for that. Okay, so you're the only one else now. The driver is a black male. Um, I don't know, really not. But black male, what you mean, like black skin color? Yeah, black skin color. Yeah. Okay.
okay, he's playing stupid now.
Back passenger, are they black men? Yeah. Okay.
He trying to say that Paris wasn't
Are they gay?
in
Okay,
transgender form. He tried to say that they all were males and that, you know, he didn't notice that she was a transgender. And not only that, they perform oral sex on him. And when they perform oral sex on him, he felt like just because they were saying, oh, because he DL, they wanted to out him as being gay. So I guess that's what's the motive. The motive was that he went and killed them.
Well, the 2 people, were they all males? Yes. Okay, so 2 males, were they old or young? Yeah.
This is interrogation of Devon Kareem Robinson, who killed the LGBT members of Detroit, Michigan back in May 2019. Now, viewer discretion is advised.
So you got one in the living room. Where is he? Is he sitting or standing or what? He's standing. Where is he standing? The door. The door. Mm-hmm. The front door or front door? Front door. So he's standing in the front door. And then you have somebody in the back that you can see. And where can you see them? Are they going into another room? Are they in the kitchen or something? Well, I really don't know. I just know there was 1 or 2 people in there when I first got in there. There was 2 new faces I didn't see. 2 new faces, okay. And so when you get in there with these other 4 guys, what do you do?
They started.
Your hair split up to what?
Look, he just so.
Upstairs. So your pair slides upstairs, and upstairs, what's upstairs?
Just 1 room. It was like 1 room that actually.
So they took him upstairs so they could perform oral sex on him, and they trying to say that she wasn't transgender when they did it.
There's 1 room looks like somebody actually occupied the room, sleeping in this room. And the reason why you think that is because there's a bed in this room.
Yes.
Okay, so there's a bed, is there a dresser in this room?
I don't know.
Okay, are the lights on in this room?
No.
Okay, so the lights are off, but you can see some stuff because there's some sort of form of lighting in there, right? Right. From outside or something like that.
Right.
And what time is this? What time of night is this?
I don't know.
About what time?
I know I went to the gas station around like 3 o'clock.
PM, AM? AM. Okay, so you know it's around 3 a.m. 3 hours in the morning, right? And you're upstairs, but you can see that there's a bed. If the lights are, but you still can see there's a bed, right?
Right.
And you and Paris go in that room. Is anybody in that room when you first get in there?
Yeah.
Okay, so just you and Paris, right?
Right.
And you and Paris engage some kind of way sexually.
Right.
Right? You engage on him or did he engage on you?
He engaged on me.
He engaged on you.
Did you see how he said that? He engaged on me.
So he brushed fellatio on you. Or fellatio.
Right.
Okay, so
He said he, not she. He.
Right? Okay, so when Paris go down on you, is anybody else in there?
Yeah.
Okay, are you intoxicated?
I was smoking weed.
Okay.
And I wasn't drinking no liquor.
Okay, so you just had a little bit of marijuana in your system at the time.
Yeah.
Did you and Paris smoke anybody who's up there?
No.
Okay, so
Paris didn't smoke with me at all.
so you was already high.
Yes.
And where'd you get high at prior to that?
That was before I came over there.
Before you came over, so you was already high. Were you real high, just real high or what?
Just smoking one.
Okay, so just smoking blunt. So you wasn't out of it like sleep or out your mind or passed out in your bed.
Right.
Nobody slipped you any kind of Mickey or anything like that.
Right.
Okay, so nobody drugged you or anything as far as you know.
Right.
Nobody put anything into your juice that you had, right?
Right.
Okay, so now. Okay.
You know, I was about to say, I ain't opening it right off.
Okay. But you upstairs, you're on the bed. Are you laying on the bed?
You know, sitting on the bed.
Sitting on the bed. And Paris is down on his knees, performing something.
Right.
Okay. So during this act, how long did it last?
About 20 minutes.
About 20 minutes.
It's oral sex.
Engaged for about 20 minutes. And
It
afterwards,
lasted-
what happened?
And he ejaculated in her mouth.
We went downstairs.
Okay, nobody else came into the room during that time. Okay, so you go downstairs. But did you?
It took 20 minutes. So he had just admitted that he was there in the room with the transgender.
Okay, so you came in his mouth.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you guys have any other kind of sex?
No.
Okay.
And mind you, he just admitted right here that he was there, but he said he wasn't.
Okay, okay. So
And then he said he
from
left,
that point,
but
you guys go downstairs.
he
You go downstairs.
he did this.
Everybody's talking.
Everybody's talking.
Yeah.
So the same other three that got out of that car, they still downstairs.
Okay, so
What about the other two that you saw when you first
I
came
want
down?
y'all to see this here. Let me see if I
We
can.
got at least 5 people downstairs. The little pairs come downstairs, correct?
Right.
Okay. When you come down there, everybody's talking and stuff.
We walk outside, we talking. Everybody come up there, about to leave.
Okay.
So I'm like, oh, I went to the gas station. Grabbed me
The gas station.
cigarettes and another chicken.
Now, what he talking about? Now, let me show y'all this right here.
That's it.
You went home.
I was home.
Okay, he talking about this.
Oh,
Okay, he talking about this here.
Okay.
Hold on, let me see.
Okay, so this is just like just a favor because you got some.
The gas station. All right, mind
Nobody
you,
else had sex with nobody
I'm gonna
else.
show y'all this.
Nobody else went down on you.
Yeah.
As far as you remember, right? Right.
Okay, I'm gonna show y'all this.
Testimony that somebody else.
Right here is
went down on you.
where he live at.
You don't-
This here
you don't-
is where the murder happened at. And there's the gas station of where they is where
Okay, 'cause you-
they met him
that's all
at.
that you could hear.
Okay,
So
look
that's
how
all.
far that is.
So in between your
588
came up off you and somebody else could-
20 feet away from where he live at, or where he stayed at, or his mom stayed at, or his aunt.
I mean, you can positively say the whole time as you was practicing or getting fellatio done, when you performed on you, there was only pairs that were doing this.
Can you say that one more time?
Okay, you positively.
They don't say that one more time. We know what he's saying.
Fellatio on you. For 20 minutes, you said, it was only him.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, you know it was only him. You had your eyes open, you know, the senses all about you. Nobody else jumped in during that time. If somebody said they did, they'd be lying. What you say?
Right.
You're pretty sure about that. Right. Because there's some point in time your eyes were closed and you couldn't see in that room where somebody could have did that, you wouldn't have known they did it.
What you trying to say? There was somebody else?
Well, somebody said that they had.
You see what he's saying? He's trying to say it was somebody else performing fellatio on him.
3 different people.
When they already testified and said
Now, you don't
that
remember.
there was multiple people doing fellatio on him. And at one point, one of the guys was even mad because an older man, 29-year-old man, was performing fellatio on him. And he was like, well, why is a 29-year-old male performing fellatio on this man right here? Okay. And I'm 20 years old, and this guy right here is 19. And they just found this man. So listen, they were, I need to just show it to you. I can't explain this to you. I need to show it to you. I can't explain it to you. Okay, I'm gonna show y'all a tape. What is this? Excuse my impression.
What's that?
No, I'm talking about where you stay at.
Who?
My pops.
Your pops.
Yeah.
Okay. So when you went home, you stayed with your mom.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so when you went home, was your mom home?
Yes.
So when you came in, did your mom know you had come in?
Yes.
Okay, she saw you come in.
Yes.
She observed you come in, right?
Yes.
You came in by yourself.
Yes. My auntie was laying on the couch.
Your auntie was laying on the couch. And nobody saw you leave, what'd you say? You just went to sleep, right?
Yes.
So you didn't leave at all.
I didn't.
Okay. So you had a twin brother.
No.
And being serious.
I ain't laughing about this. Like, seriously. This is nothing to laugh about. It's your life. They don't have the death penalty, but definitely he could get life. He's been charged with 3 counts of murder and weapon possession.
He's in jail, right? And the clothes that you had on that night, what clothes did you have on that night when you walked into the house?
My arm's fatigue jacket.
Fatigue jacket, what?
And my arm My Adidas hat.
You say you never left back out?
When I walked into my
The
house,
house, you never left back out till like 11 o'clock. You left back out shortly after you went in the house and left right back out. You never left back out like that. That's what you're saying, right?
I never left back out.
Okay.
As I went home after leaving that shop.
You ever have a history of memory loss?
I don't know.
Have you ever had,
Well, hold on, what is the memory like?
have you ever had a problem where you can't remember certain things?
Sometimes,
See, you acting
When did
stupid.
that come on?
a lot of I smoke weed.
You smoke weed?
Yeah.
Okay. And so you can't remember certain things that you did the night before or during that time or something like that? What you
So
say?
like, it'd be stuff that I forget right then and there that I just said, like, damn, I
But
should
you wouldn't forget shooting 3 people, would you?
have my mind.
You wouldn't forget that, right?
Every man.
So then you must not be telling us the truth. Because we have videos of you going in the house and coming right back out shortly afterwards.
Wow.
Going back to that house.
Evidence.
Okay, we have videos of that. Now, can you give an explanation why you don't remember that? Because you just told me you left out at 11 o'clock, so that's not true.
Right.
We have actual videos. So either you forgot or you lying to me. Which one is it?
Nah, I didn't forget, I think I'm sure I didn't lie to you, because I did.
Well, you did, because we have your video coming out. Going back to the house.
They got a video of him coming out.
So,
I did. How you gonna make me admit to something that I actually, that's what you just said.
No, but you got, I told you to keep one. Listen though, because you don't want to, where your auntie and mom was at the house when you got there.
Mhm.
So we don't want to get mom or auntie involved in this.
So he's definitely trying to play the whole innocent, that I'm not gay, and that he didn't know that Paris was a transgender.
Got video,
What is this video at?
no bullshit. Mind you, we were already investigating. Then we have video from other sources. You run out of the house if you had sex with there, or sexual actions performed on you. If they run out of the street, cut up the side street to your mom's house. Mind you, there's cameras everywhere. We had cameras everywhere.
Right.
It's tracked. Tracks you.
Right.
Boom, boom, boom. You can piece all that together.
Right.
No bullshit.
Okay, I'm gonna fast forward this so you guys can see this.
No, right, so I'm just saying,
Okay.
memory loss, or whatever the case may be.
EV gas station.
This person's already been identified by a witness in this case? Who was
Yes.
there?
Yes,
And this person was identified by Blair as the defendant in this case?
yes.
Now what are we seeing?
The defendant has entered the location.
So the defendant is in a store with, hold on, let's see, let's go here. The defendant is in a store, this man is in a store with the 3 people he killed. And tell me, you can't, tell me right here that the person, the transgender, is definitely a transgender. I don't see how he said that she was dressed as a boy. And apparently, you can see right here clearly that she's a transgender. And all these people, the defense is saying that he's innocent and that he didn't kill them. But it's clearly saying right here, this man was hanging around a gas station and he was waiting for them to come in, which you see them right there. There's Paris. He killed all 3 of these people. That's Paris right there, transgender right there. He said she was a boy when it came to her dressing. So apparently, okay, he was killed too. Okay. Now he's saying, well, first of all, they met him at a gas station, and you can see right here that they met him and that they wanted him to come back with him to their house. Now you just meet somebody off the street and they're bringing this man back to the house because he's cute. These are all the victims right here, except one of them. The one that's right here up in the top corner, he wasn't killed. The three right here, they were killed. He shot them in cold blood because of their sexuality. And you can see the suspect right there with the cigarette in his hand talking about he didn't know that she was transgender. But you can clearly see that he's in the store with them. So, and then you can see that he was hanging around the store and then he came back and then they're trying to put the time in. So right here you see it's 2 o'clock in the morning, almost 3 o'clock in the morning on 5/25. Now, that day is very important for me because that's the day that I found out that my friend Joseph passed away, okay, on that date. It was a Saturday, Saturday. They say he died on that Friday. But that's the day that I was told that Joseph passed away. And, you know, that's how I know that date so clearly, right? So, again, what they're showing is they're showing the victims and the suspect in the store. And the defense are trying to say that they didn't know that he didn't know. He thought that they set him up. And you can see clearly right here.
What is the timestamp now?
2:39.
This is outside of the BP that I just showed y'all.
Yes, this is camera 12 outside of the BP gas station.
Okay, so this here, right here, this is happening right here, okay, right around the corner. This is all happening right around there. So you will see that the suspect will come out of the store. He come out of the store, and then you can see the transgender going after him, like chasing him, because he's cute, because he look good. And as you notice, as we just seen, that they perform oral sex on somebody that they don't even know. Look, so he comes down. That's him right there. He walk away. Here they come. Here she coming out of the store. Mind you, he said that in the car, she was a boy. But look clearly right here on how she looked. She got spandex on. She clearly looked like a girl to me, a transgender to me. So he coming back. He should have just left. But he's coming back. And since they so happy that Trade is around, and that they're about to, you know, take this Trade and take him back to the house. Trade is a boy that in the LGBT world that definitely is, you know, a piece of meat. Okay, and look what happened. They take this boy back to his house and they perform oral sex on him and he kills them. But mind you, he's in the room with other people who perform oral sex on him and not just the transgender. And he said it was just her with the lights off, but he came in her mouth. Viewer discretion is advised, I told y'all. Okay, so they're leaving. You can see them in the far corner up there. They're leaving. And I believe he just came down. They up here, right here. And he came down here. So you will see him walk away. And mind you, they have no idea that they're about to be murdered. They're about to get murdered 3 hours later. Not even 2-3 hours later, like 2 hours later, they didn't even know that they were going to get murdered by this moron. So now you can see him coming out the store. He coming out the store. He just bought cigarettes. He just bought a wrap for weed. He coming out the store. He walking down. Y'all can see him walking down here. This is the suspect walking down. And then again, these are the victims are in a car right behind this car here. Now look at Paris. Now can y'all not see clearly that she looks like a transgender? Look. He says she looked like a boy. Clearly.
Check Williams, and pause it for just a minute. The lower part of the screen, what direction is that?
Okay.
What part?
So now,
when we see her walking towards the screen and walking out of
let's
the frame,
go-
which direction is that? What street is on that corner?
Buckingham,
What's the street that we can see?
I mean, they got everything.
Mack Avenue.
Okay, so this is,
Moving?
they're going to show him right here walking
Where's the gas
from the
station?
gas station,
Right here.
right? So it is as he's walking from here down.
Is that
So
person
it's like
paused?
They're moving, going
here
southbound.
down. So there's a gas station in Derbyshire. So you walk here, down Mac, all down here. And this is where you will see him walking.
Does that
Clearly as day.
light or dark blue?
Appears to be light.
Thank you.
Okay, so
Is the person reverse course?
Correct now, northbound.
okay,
Now continuing
wow.
northbound.
Okay, so now
Stop.
we are on closing arguments right now. So I guess they are now. Hold on, let's tune into this right here.
Southbound now?
They're on closing arguments right now in the trial. Just stand with me. Hold on, stay in line. Stay in line. Okay, closing arguments today in the murder case. So I believe that they are on
Yes,
their
camera one.
way as far as
Right now,
The person wearing light or dark blue?
appears to be light clothing.
okay, there's nobody on there now.
Could you please follow me through 20?
Okay, as you can see, the suspect is now in front of the house, and then you will see now he's saying the defense is saying that he wasn't there. They're saying that he was not.
Continuing
That's not
northbound.
him. Well, you can clearly see that he's in white.
Stop.
Clearly.
Now southbound.
Can we pause it? Did the person in light colored clothing pass 3440 Buckingham?
Yes.
Go ahead, please. What is the next street from Mac? And-
Brunswick.
Are we back at the gas station?
We are.
2:51 a.m.
Yes.
What is the speed, please?
Is this camera 10? That's
Again,
Haverhill
so it
Street,
shows the
right here.
defendant going back to the gas
View right
station.
here,
Coming from what direction?
coming from Haverhill, walking westbound.
It's 2:51 a.m.
Yes.
Walking back towards Haverhill.
Yes.
What direction now? Do you see an individual?
Going, walking south on Haverhill.
Again, now you see that he is continuing to go around the gas station looking for the
Is there a
victims.
different camera angle?
He's looking for them.
Yes, it's
So I
now
don't know
4
if
a.m.
he's high
Camera
or
12.
So
up to no good, but
we're over an hour.
he's
past
now
this.
about to commit
Can
murder.
we pause this for a moment?
It is at 4 o'clock. They said that when the guy
So is it
testified,
4
he said
a.m.?
he came
Is that
back.
Yes.
The witness testified he came back at 5:55. It was more
Why
people.
did
The
you
police
leave
and
this
everything was there. So he just killed them
Just
around
make
this
sure that
time.
we try to capture everything that could have happened within this investigation. We normally pull videos, maybe like a 6 or possibly a 12-hour block at a time. At the time when a homicide happens, we're not exactly sure what we are not looking for. So sometimes you want to see what might have happened earlier in the day or later that evening. So you'll take a large block, and then as you gather the information, you'll find the exact time that you're looking for within your larger block, also so that it doesn't get overwritten.
So Devonshire, can you see Devonshire in the shot?
Not really. This street right here is Haverhill,
And what direction is Devonshire from Devonshire?
1 block over.
Thank you. Please continue.
What time is this?
4 a.m.
Okay, so he goes back into the store. The suspect goes back into the store, and when he goes back into the store, he just gives the guy money and then walk back out. Now, mind you, this is at 4:01. There you go again. That's the suspect. Clearly, they want you to see what he looked like because they're trying to say that that's not him. Clearly, he's in shorts and he's in a jacket. And might say he don't know what he had on, but you can clearly see right here. This is probably where he's contemplating on what he's going to do as far as murdering these members of the LGBTQ and I. Okay, we're still watching closing arguments. If they are still about to make their
4:01
appearance,
a.m.
no one has stepped in the courtroom
Where's
yet.
Buckingham?
Buckingham.
Okay, the
is
courtroom
out.
is
Camera
empty right now, and when they do appear in the courtroom, I'll see if I can put that live up on here on this closing arguments for the Devon
We're
Kareem
now
Robinson
camera
trial.
2, the video across the street from 3440 Devonshire. This is Mack Avenue. This is Buckingham. 4:02 a.m.
Let me see if figure is clearing out.
right now.
Is that person wearing light colored clothing or dark colored clothing?
Lights.
different camera angle?
Yes, camera one,
Okay,
here's the light color clothing.
this next part that I want to show you guys is the testimony of the person. He said that he went to the house. Now listen to this lady. This is what she says. Let me bring it onto this one. Hold on. Let me just bring it onto this one here. Again, viewer discretion is advised. Viewer discretion is advised
Went
to
into
the
direction
graphics
of 3440
and nature of what you're going to see on this. Hold on.
All right, the camera now moves. to
Okay, this is about to
4:53
end.
a.m. Is that
So
correct?
let me go to this one here. Okay, this is the lady that let's listen.
Yes, Your Honor.
Go ahead and call your next witness.
People call Spring Bates.
Now listen to her testimony, y'all.
Please spell your first and last name for the record for me, please.
ERENBATE.
Raise your right hand for me, please. Do solemnly swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. Thank you. We'll bring a jury up. All rise for the jury, please.
Okay, the jury is coming in, and now they are now trying to. Now he said he ran to a house which had his mom's and his aunt in. But mind you, listen to this testimony that this lady is going to say on the stand. Mind you, she's under oath. So if she's lying, that means she could be arrested for lying under oath.
The testimony of Mr. Williams so that we can have another witness testify. She's already been sworn. Madam Prosecutor, proceed.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
Hi,
Could you state your name for the record, please?
Sabrina Bates.
All right, Ms. Bates, are you familiar with 3440 Buckingham in the city?
Yeah,
How are you familiar with that location?
I lived
Did you live there back in May of 2019 with a woman by the name of Marilyn Robinson? Mallory Robinson, I apologize.
there. Yes.
How do you know Mallory Robinson?
From being associated with my aunt. My aunt stays right next door.
And do you know Devin Robinson?
Yes,
Do you see Mr. Robinson in court?
yes.
For the record, could you please indicate where he is seated and what he's wearing?
He's wearing black and white. He's sitting in front of the table.
In our left, the record reflect and have identified the defendant in this case, Mr. Robinson.
The record will reflect.
Ms. Bates, did you come into a contact with a Sergeant Duplessis back on May 28th of 2019?
Again, this is law and crime. Okay, well, we're
Yes.
watching a trial
Did you talk to him
of
about the
Devon
last time that you had seen
Kareem
Devin Robinson?
Robinson, who
Yes.
killed
And did you tell him that that
3
was Saturday?
LGBTQ and I members
I didn't
in
say
Detroit,
what day it
Michigan.
was. I just said he got up, took a shower, and he left and had his backpack.
And then we just went over your statement in the witness room, is that correct?
Yes,
And you acknowledge that your statement was truthful, is that correct?
yes.
Would your statement refresh your recollection as to what you said back on May 28th?
I said he got up because I didn't see him when I got off work and came home. When I woke up, he was sleeping on the couch. He got up, took a shower, played with the kids, ate breakfast, and left like he always do.
And my question is, did you tell Sergeant Duplessis when you talked to him on Tuesday, May 28th, that the last time that you had seen the defendant was Saturday morning between 9 and 10 a.m.?
I told him the same thing I just told you. I said he got up when
She's
I
not
woke
cooperative.
up, he was still asleep. He got up, took a shower, ate, said something to the kids, and he left.
Ma'am, but the day, did you tell him that it was Saturday?
I can't remember if I said Saturday or Friday.
Did you testify earlier in this matter? Did you testify at a preliminary exam in this case? You and I have met before, haven't we?
Yes,
And you testified at a formal proceeding, is that correct?
yes,
And we went through this statement in front of another judge, is that correct?
yes,
And did you swear to tell the truth at that point?
yes, and that's what I'm doing.
Referring to page 63, line 6, do you recall when I asked you, do you remember telling the police that Devin moved out on Saturday? And your answer first time was, I can't really remember. Do you remember that?
Now let me
I
show
said
y'all. Let
he
me
didn't
show y'all what
move
this
out
house
'cause
looked
all
like.
he did was got
And
up, took a shower, played with the
Look
kids,
what this
ate,
house
and
looked
left.
like where
I
they were
didn't say
killed
he had
at.
no suitcase.
I'm
He
gonna
was
fast
moving
forward
on
it.
furniture.
Ben, do you remember your testimony at the prior hearing?
Okay. Viewer discussion is advised.
Detective Williams.
Okay.
You've
On
been
what this
sitting at
house
this
looked
table,
like
you've been on the phone a
where
lot
they
during
killed
this case.
the victims.
Yes, for the jury, are you disinterested in this case?
Not at all.
Why are you constantly texting and going out into the hallway?
Okay,
What
just
is
look
part of
at
your
this
job?
house.
The house?
This
There
is
are.
what the house
Moving on
looked
to
like
7.
where they had this party at
Again, are
and
there yellow
where
placards?
the shooting
Yes.
happened.
8.
Take a look. Viewer discussion is advised, people, so turn your heads if you don't want to see it.
Yellow placards
This
again.
the house.
Yes.
And 11. Thank you.
You see how dirty that
Those
house
placards,
is?
do those
That's
represent,
where
casings
the
and bullet fragments in this case?
victim
Yes.
was
Do they
killed.
represent anything else?
That's where the victim
Cell
was killed
phones,
at.
possible blood spatter.
Did y'all see how nasty that
You
house
took
was?
a lot of evidence in this case.
Yes.
Where they
Did you
brought
do
this
a lot of
kid
cell
back,
phone searches in
this
case?
man back
Yes.
Were
over
they done
to the
for
apartment
Blair in this
or a
case?
house that was
Yes.
filthy like that. Did y'all see how filthy that house
Yes.
was? That house was real filthy.
Brendan Settles, did he have a phone in this case?
But they wanted to
He did.
perform oral sex on that
And
boy,
The defendant, did you look for his phone for the
and he
defendant?
killed
I
them.
did.
And were you
Unbelievable.
able to, through your investigation, determine whether or not defendant had?
Okay, let's
sex
check to
in
see if
this
they're on
case?
stand. Hold
was.
on.
Tell me about that.
That was the phone that,
I don't know if they're
Sabrina
going to be on the
turned
stand
over
at
to
12 or
And that was the subject
10.
of the
I don't know, let's
exhibit
check.
where we had the calls, the times regarding the cabs and the defendant's mother.
close the
Yes.
argument.
Why do you do
Let's
that?
see.
as far as to do the phone extraction.
Yes.
Because there's always information possibly that you could be looking for on the phone. It's possible that there could be video,
Okay,
text
let's
messages,
go.
or
They're on
other
the stand.
information sometimes.
They're on the stand. They're on the stand.
people
They're on the
might search
stand. Hold the line. Let's take you into the courtroom right now for close the arguments.
Gas station, okay? Home, turns around, maybe I'll go, maybe I'll do this. Stops, nope. Thinking about it. Continues on, maybe I'm gonna go. Stops again.
Close the
Heads back to
arguments
his house.
in the case against the LGBTQ&I members who were killed in Detroit. Back in 2019, prosecutor right here is making their closing
When he
arguments.
passes that car, the house is between that car and then you can see the car in the other driveway. That's his home on Buckingham. He passes it and keeps going towards Brunswick. Okay? Now remember, Blair testified that when
That
he
static
leaves
is
the
not
gas
my
station,
system.
that he's lost his wallet. He's not sure where his wallet is. He doesn't go directly back to the Devonshire house. And what you see on the video is that the defendant, in fact, comes back up Haverhill, and you saw him again at the gas station, kind of throwing his arms up and then walking back down Haverhill. And then you heard Blair tell you that, in fact, the defendant came from the Brunswick area. He came from Brunswick, not from that. So, and you see that on the video, the defendant leading down Haverhill, and you know that he ultimately ends up over at the Devonshire house. Now, while at the Devonshire house, what happens? The defendant just saw him pacing. Should I go? Should I not go?
See, I
I'm
told
gonna do
y'all.
this. I'm not going to do this.
Yup.
And he ultimately ends up over at Devonshire.
Right,
And
he
what
did that right at
happens
the
over
gas
there is
station, as you
not
guys just
your
seen.
routine hookup, okay? It is multiple people performing oral sex on the defendant. This is not your average hookup. It's extreme. It's extraordinary, okay?
And that
And
house
Blair
that
tells
y'all
you
just
that
seen that was
during
filthy.
this time that there are people running up and down the stairs going, oh, he gay, he gay. You know, everyone's laughing, running around. It is craziness. And the defendant finally leaves. And when he leaves, he walks back towards his house on Buckingham, this time on Mack Avenue. And you saw him, he stops, he passes that BP gas station, passes the door, comes back, and he kind of dry heaves and spits. Dry heaves and spits. And then he goes back to his house at 4:03 a.m. And now you know that there's a call at 4:50 a.m. from Sabrina Bates' phone. It's like a butt dial. It doesn't actually pick up in this case, all right? But it's a call to the mom, no time. But you know the defendant who's in possession of this phone at this time. He's up, he's awake at 4:50 a.m. So what's happening between 4:03 and 4:50 a.m.? Now, do you remember that statement that the defendant gave you in this case? The defendant, when he's talking to the police, it's the thing, don't nobody know. It's the thing, everybody finding out. What's my uncle gonna say? What my pop's gonna say? What's my mom gonna say? And he's in that house for almost 50 minutes thinking about what he's just done. And he knows that those people over there on Devonshire, they're loud, they're out, they're proud, they're laughing about it. This is not gonna stay a secret. Everybody in that neighborhood is gonna know what went down at that Devonshire house. And he knows it. And it's the thing, everybody finding it. So he puts on dark clothing, he puts on a ski mask, and then he heads back over to Devonshire. You see at 4:53 a.m.
And that's what
a figure emerging
the
from that
guy
house
said.
heading towards
He's
the
on 911. He had a
This is
ski
8
mask
minutes, okay? 4:53
and changed his
to
clothes.
5:01 a.m. That's
And
that
mind
time
you,
frame.
how did he do all that
4:53,
at one time? Is because, again, look, it's all in the same vicinity. This is the BP we seen. This is where his aunt that we seen testified at.
4:53 a.m.
And this here is where the killing happened.
So watching between. Remember that call was at 4:50 a.m. And then at 4:53, we have a figure coming from the house, headed towards Brian.
Closing arguments
This is the
in
direction that
the
you're going to see
Devon
4:47
Kareem Robinson
the shooter running.
murder trial of 3
What happens during this
LGBTQI
time?
members in Detroit, Michigan
Kind of
in
walks
May of
two short blocks
2019.
over to Devonshire, and he has to eliminate the threat. He has to make sure nobody finds out what happened. And in that house, he enters and just starts shooting immediately. Because he has to kill everyone there. Because if everyone's not dead, somebody can talk about what happened in that case.
Yep.
So he comes in the house, blasting. Everyone gets up from the table and just flees and runs. Alante shot twice. Paris is shot 4 times. Timothy is shot 4 times. Blair barricades himself in that bathroom. He can hear his friends screaming. Timothy runs down to the basement with Armand. Armand is trying to save Timothy. And they immediately start calling 911 as soon as they hear that shooter. Remember, Blair says, I hear him run down the steps. He. He refers to him as a he. And they're calling 911, and they're trying to save their friends' lives. And you know that the police end up within minutes of this happening. So at 4:57, looking up towards that right-hand corner of the screen. Now remember, the 4 minutes before this,
So this is when he probably ran from the
motion
scene.
activated, but it's motion
But it doesn't
activated
show-
what's happening more local to the
It doesn't
camera.
show
What happens across the street is not
his
triggered.
it doesn't show what he had on, but
But
it
we get
shows
lucky.
that
And
he
at
ran
4:57,
across
it's adjusted 42 seconds to 4:58. Look at
and
that.
he already
Right
killed.
back down the
So
street to
he
Brunswick.
fired a total of
In the direction of
like
Buckingham.
15
That person
shots.
They are moving fast.
He unloaded on these people. He unloaded on them in the house. You can see that they were killed in the basement. Unbelievable. And
5:01
mind you,
back
this
to
is
Ben's
an abandoned
It's
house
just 2
in
blocks.
Detroit, Michigan that they're in, having a party
And you're
in.
going to see him coming from Brunswick. This is the area, 458, running 2
An
blocks
abandoned
down,
house that they're
501,
in
coming back
and
into the
Detroit,
house.
Michigan having a party,
See that
and
figure
they're
going
here
right
performing
up
oral
into the yard?
sex
This is
on
where
a man that they
3440
don't even
Buckingham
know.
is.
They met this guy at the
Now
gas
what happens?
station and they
It's 5 in
decided
the morning.
to take him
Police
in
arrive
because
within
he's
minutes.
trade and he's cute. And look what
That
happened.
tells you
He killed them.
that first responders come, then
So
more
everybody
police come,
who you meet,
more
please,
police come.
members of the
Embassies in
LGBTQ,
there is heavy police
please
presence over
just
there.
be careful who you meet in, because again, you never
This
know
is
who
the
you
defendant's house
meet
in
in.
Buckingham. Now the defendant is realizing that he has just made a very bad situation much, much worse.
Yep.
So he gets up and he's out. Saturday morning, he leaves this house, never to return again. It is a week and a half before the police are able to
Now,
locate
this is
him.
the house
Remember
that I just
they
showed
pulled
y'all
that
right here.
video. They have to use facial
So
recognition.
it's right
to try
around
to
the
get
corner. All this is
positive
all in the same
identification
vicinity.
on the defendant. Now, this time, Detective Williams has in her custody that video from Devonshire. It is clear that the shooter comes out of the house, heads towards Brunswick, and heads in the direction of Buckingham. They get an identification on that other man who was in the house, that stranger who received sexual favors that night, and he lives on Buckingham. That's the direction the shooter goes. And then when they go out on Tuesday to try to find him and talk to anyone in his house, he's gone. He's not there anymore.
She's talking about
And his
around
mother
here.
is
So
gone,
Buckingham,
too. Only
this is the
3 days
house
is there, and we'll talk
right
about
here.
it.
So it happened. So he
So
darted
week and a half
this
passes.
way and came around here to this White House. This house
And the
here.
defendant is found on the other side of the city on Claremont. Okay? And the police only
So
find him.
this is when he was
Not
found
through any
at.
help from defendant's family members in this case.
After
They
they
only find him because of an anonymous
put out
tip.
on the news
And
that
you
this
heard
man
that
killed
Mom blames
members of the
Daryl G. Jackson for
LGBTQI
telling
family.
on the defendant in this case. The defense brought that up. People are allowed to report anonymously. We allow people to report
So he
anonymously.
killed them,
That is
and
for
he
this-
went and
that is
hide
because
like a
people are
coward.
afraid. We don't
And
want people to not
you know,
report
he know he
homicide
wrong.
suspects to us
He know he
because
wrong
they're
for what he
afraid
did,
of being
and now he's
So
definitely
this tip is good.
about
And all
to
the tips that they're getting in this case only
have to pay
do
for the
with defendant.
consequences for what he
Because this
did.
detective is following
'Cause
up
somebody
on
about to
every
talk.
lead she can find.
An anonymous
Every lead
tip
she can find.
led him here to this
So the defendant's out
shabby
there in his red
house.
shorts, sitting out on the porch, and you're going to hear that jail call again in just a little bit, where mom is complaining that he was outside in those red shorts, getting himself caught, not laying low, not allowing people to do stuff for him. Instead, he's out on the porch being careless. That's because mom is complicit in hiding this defendant at this point. From the day of the shooting up until police catch him on June 5th. So the defendant's taken into custody. And the defendant starts talking. Now, I want you to pay attention to this statement, okay? Every time this defendant has any contact with anyone, it's all about stonewalling, running, hiding, not talking about what happened, being careful when talking about what happened, making them prove it, okay? He's not going to admit to anything he doesn't have to admit to. Now, you know that when he's taken into custody, he knows he's been all over the news. He knows it. He tells them that in the interview. But when he sits down, what's the
If
first
you're
thing he
just
says?
tuning in,
He
this
says,
is
"You
the
know why
closing
you're
arguments on law and
And he
crime,
says,
where
I'm not really
the
sure why I'm here. You've been
suspect
on
here,
the road for a
Devon
week and a
Kareem
half.
Robinson,
You're about to
killed
police. You've seen yourself on the news.
3
knows why he's
LGBTQ
there,
members,
but this is
LGBTQI members in
consistency
Detroit, Michigan back in 2019.
Let's see what you got. Let's see what you got. Okay? So,
And
we
this is
start off
trade.
extra line there.
This is trade that they found
You
on
know,
the
he's been on
street
the
at
news.
the
You're gonna
gas
hear these jail
station,
calls
and they
again,
picked him back
where he's
up.
all
They
upset
picked him
that
up. They don't know
someone
who
gave
he
his
was.
location.
Picked him up
Mom's
from the
mad
gas
about you,
station,
mad
or he
about
walked
you
around the
being
corner,
careless, been on
and
the
they
run for a
performed
week and a
oral
half.
sex on him.
And he admits to contact with Paris.
They performed oral
only,
sex
and
on
that is
him without a
only
condom,
after the detective in this
and
case
he
says to
ejaculated
him,
in
in
her
referencing
mouth,
that video
and
in the
then
gas
he
station
left,
in
and he
Paris.
came
Oh
back,
man,
and
you
he
got
shot and killed him.
DNA everywhere. Well, the defendant knows that he ejaculated with Paris. So
They
that
don't
makes
even know
sense
this
to him.
man
So,
for a can of
okay,
paint,
yeah, I was in the
and
house.
they
Yeah, I came with
perform
Paris.
these acts on him because
He
he's
knows.
cute,
But
because
remember,
he look
Paris was
good,
taken away from the scene
because
she
he's
survived
sexy.
a little bit. So she's not like Timothy.
And they
She's
getting
not
mad
like
because
Marjorie,
a
that's
29-year-old is
smart.
performing oral
She's
sex on
taking
him,
advice.
and
But
she's
he
jealous.
doesn't know that.
They,
But he knows
they're
that he
jealous
ejaculated,
because
and he knows it's like
he's
she's
older, he's
So
29,
he
and
says,
our
I
age
was there
range
earlier that
is
week.
20, so he shouldn't be in our
That's
category
why they're
performing
taking
sex on this man who just
But we
murdered
know
these people.
DNA is on Timothy. We know they swapped Timothy's
Or
DNA.
before he murdered, like he
When
murdered
the shooting
them
happens,
after.
There's no testimony or evidence that when
And why he murdered? Because they called him gay. They said he's gay, he's DL. He's a DL man getting his sucked.
He doesn't know why he's
Okay?
there being interviewed initially, but he's not going to tell them either. He's not going to tell them he had contact, sexual contact with other people in
See,
the house.
it says the
That
DNA
on
right
Timothy
there.
is
Look,
confirmed. And yes, it
it's
is
right here.
more
Look,
clear
no
to admit to
DNA
having oral sex with
could
multiple
be
people than just one person when
could
it's the
be
thing
in
everybody
Paris ejaculated. He came in that mouth.
And that's what the defense
without a
tells
condom.
you. You get this motive. Now, if you didn't know before, you could see in the video.
They out there
that they
performing
should
oral
go.
sex on people you
Should
don't
not
know.
go. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna
The
do
fuck?
this. No, I'm not gonna do this. I'm going home. Nope, I'm going. And then he
Because
verifies
he's cute.
that in his statement, talking about
Fuck
how
with these people.
it's the thing.
Y'all want to mess with these people because they sexy and cute?
What's my
What the
mom gonna
fuck?
say? What's my pop's gonna say? I'm gonna be disowned. Then he says at the very end, I went to sleep. Now that's after Sergeant Todd starts to become frustrated with them.
And mind you, Paris,
We got
the
video coming in and out of the
transgender,
house. Now,
she
remember, this
died
time, that video of him
later
that's never
on
been released to the public.
throughout
He
the
has no
day
reason to know
after
how
her
that-
two friends
that
was already
exists
shot
and
and
what
killed
is
in
his
the
initial
home.
reaction.
So I don't know if they
We
talked
got
to
video
her. I
coming
don't
in and out
know
of
if
the
they,
house. He knows he's
you
being wearing a
know,
mask.
extracted
He
that
thinks
from
he's
her,
being
but,
careful, and he kind of pauses.
you know, it's just sad all across the board.
And then it's just back to Stonewall. And then he says, went to sleep, never left the house again after I came back from Devonshire. And when we listen to those jail calls again, you know what's really interesting in this case? When mom is complaining over and over again, 1, 2 times, Sabrina talking to police, Sabrina can't be a witness. She can't be a witness. You're in the house where I was at. You can't be a witness. And then she talks about it a second time. She's in the house when this happens. She can't be a witness. You know what's never said during those calls? Mom never says, and you were in the house with me too, Devin, so we know you didn't do it. You don't hear Devin saying, and I was in the house with you too, Mom and Sabrina, so obviously it wasn't me. Think about those jail calls. We're going to play some clips for you. Because everything is
Okay, yeah, so he told
it's never,
the
oh, this is so
people, he
horrible
told
for
his
you to
mother
do
on the
this. This is
phone
so horrible
that
for
it's
you,
a hate
son,
crime, so I'm
cousin,
just going to
brother.
say that I'm
It's-
gay.
Wait and see what they got.
So they
Let's
could
wait
drop
and see
the
what
hate
they got.
crime.
And all these calls are before the
Like this,
conclusion of that
he
probable cause.
DL. This
That
boy
was
is
36.
DL. He definitely know what the hell he was doing. And I don't know if he wanted to rob them. But again, that's the home. As you can see, that's the home. It just looks so
Let's
messy
talk
and
about the scene in
trashy.
this case before we get to the
This
facts.
is the scene where
We know that
they
he's
had
wore
this
a
little,
mask.
this party at.
Now, does this mean that every
Like,
time
come on
Schur
now.
disguises himself,
Look how
that we
filthy
can
that house is.
never know for sure who it was? No.
Abandoned
absolutely
house
not the
people. Like, come on
You
now.
don't get to put on a mask and get away with mass murder. You have to follow the evidence. You have to do the work. You have to listen to what the witnesses tell you and all the other evidence in this case. So what kind of evidence, what kind of physical evidence would you expect from
So
the
see,
scene?
Paris taken from the scene, so she
All right,
died
the
later
defendant
on.
comes in through the front door.
And
And
the
he's
other
just
people were already
shooting.
killed in the home.
He's not
The
touching
other two
anything at
victims
that
were already
time.
killed.
He's not doing anything other than shooting and then getting out and getting back home. So we have casings left at the scene, right? And we know it comes in through the front
Closing
door.
arguments on
So
lawn
we
child in the case of
We know you're
Devon
going to wonder what we did for
Kareem
testing.
Robinson,
what did we
who
do?
shot and
How do we try
killed
to link up this
3 members
evidence?
of the
There's
LGBT
swabs done at that
community
front door
in
and
Detroit,
that security
Michigan,
door.
2019.
Now you heard testimony from the expert. I know that that's really hard testimony to sit there. It doesn't make a lot of sense, and it's very complicated. But the long and short of it is,
Wait.
we do
Good morning.
try to get DNA. We try, but because it's a front door, now you think about when you
Yeah, I'm
came
about
in
to
the
call you
store
back on my
today,
live.
everybody touching that door. When you go in the jury room, when you use the bathroom, everybody is touching the same door. It's no different
okay.
in this house. Everybody's touching the same door. And we don't get anyone's DNA profile off of it because it's too complex. Because when you have a kind of sample where everybody is touching the same thing, you just can't get a profile. It's too complex.
Okay,
Our
no
scientists
problem.
can't do it. But we
Oh,
want to show
yes.
that we try.
How you doing?
Now the
Well, I'm on
casings
live
that
right
are
now,
left
so I'm
the
gonna
scene,
keep that
they're
up, all right?
selected. They are fingerprinted. You heard Hacker tell you that in his
Okay.
entire career, that thousands and thousands and thousands of casings that he's tested, not once has he ever gotten a fingerprint off of the casing. And it's just also because of the nature of the casings. They're in a firearm. They're heated when they're fired. It's just the nature of it. We also swab those casings. Can we get DNA off any of these casings? And the answer is no, we cannot. We were able to get a partial profile, but it's not enough genetic material to tell us who it is. And again, you heard from the expert that this is common. Their policy is not even to take casings into the lab and swab them because they don't generate evidentiary value very often. And they didn't in this case. And it's not because we didn't do the work. It's not because we didn't try. It's just the nature of the evidence. Okay? We don't have a gun in this case. The defendant was gone for a week and a half. You know that there were search warrants executed at Mother's house on Buckingham. She's all upset because of what Sabrina said that allowed them to get that probable cause to hit that house, execute that search warrant. She's upset about it. That defendant is gone for a week and a half. And nobody's talking to the police. The people who know him are not talking to the police. That's because he's in hiding and his mother's helping him hide, and so is the rest of the family. Remember that call? Somebody had to give him my location. Mom saying, you should have been laying low, you shouldn't have been out on the porch, you should have been letting everybody do everything for you. You can't be out like that. He is in hiding. He does not get the benefit for getting out of that neighborhood and taking everything with him, and we can't find him for a week and a half. He's all over the news, and nobody related to that defendant is going to talk to the police about where he is. There's a reason he got out and got out of the neighborhood that morning. That's because it's him on that video. And he had to get out, and that family is going to rally around him and do everything they can to prevent us from solving this case. Detective Williams didn't just stop with the defendant. She's looking at everybody who was in that house that she can identify that night. There is no evidence that anybody else went back to do the shooting. It doesn't exist. All of the evidence in this case points right to the defendant. She even went to find Miss Brink. Miss Brink, Tiffany Brink, had a problem earlier in the night with the individuals in that house acting up near her home. She lived on Haverhill, that street in between Devonshire and Buckingham. And Miss Brink voluntarily gives her firearm over to them, and they don't just take her for her word, they take that firearm, they compare it to the casings. That firearm does not match the casings in the house. It's not Miss Brink. They follow up with Brendan's mother. They follow up with Lance. They follow up with everything that they can, anybody who they know is in the house. Kirk Tatum, looking at phone records. There is nothing on this record that shows that anyone other than the defendant left that house on Buckingham for 8 minutes at the time of the shooting and came running back towards Buckingham and then is on the jail calls talking about maybe taking a 25-year plea if it comes down to it. All right. We got 8 minutes. 8 minutes. 4:53 a.m. to 5:01 a.m. The defense would have you believe that some random person wandering out of defendant's house at the exact time of the shooting in this case, that it's just some unhappy chance that somebody else in that house happened to wander over in that direction, comes running out after the shooting back towards Buckingham, back into the house at 5:01 a.m. They want you to believe that someone just took an 8-minute walk from his house back on May 25th. Now I want you to think about all the other evidence in this case and what makes sense. The defendant, it's not just his 8-minute walk, but he then vacates the neighborhood after this happens and doesn't come back and goes into hiding. Let's talk about Sabrina Bates.
He goes into
Sabrina
hiding.
Bates comes
That
in here
is
and
true.
she testifies, and she is
It does
different from
sound
the mom in
like
this
she's
case.
after the
She
mother.
initially didn't shut it down. She initially
But they got the
tossed
guy right there in
and
custody.
that's a problem for her. Okay, because she sets up that timeline, she admits to him having that phone, she creates a problem for the defense in this case. And she knows it. And she comes in here and she tries really, really hard to not admit to what she said to the police. Now you think about how she testifies in conjunction with those jail calls and the fact that the defendant went into hiding and everything his family did to keep him away. She comes in here, she sits down, and she doesn't want to admit to what she said. She finally does. I think we're like 15 minutes into her testimony before she's finally like, yes, I did say that. He left on Saturday. Mom left the next day with the suitcase. And she doesn't want to say that the defendant had friends come back and pick up his clothing after being asked several times, making her look at her statement. Yes, I did say that. It's a problem. And you also know that the preliminary exam, the second day of that preliminary exam, that she actually had to be detained and brought into court. Now, she's associated with the defendant's family. I want you to think about why she doesn't want to talk to us, why she doesn't want to tell you what she said initially. She doesn't want to tell you because it matters, because it is significant that right after that 8-minute walk that the defendant took from the house at the exact time of the shooting, he's vanished from the neighborhood. Now, when Sabrina testified, everything that Mr. Callanan said to her, everything was, oh yes, yes, yes. And she is going to do whatever she can to help the defense because she knows she messed up initially talking to the police. When Mr. Callanan starts asking her about, oh, well, maybe there were other people in that house at night, she just starts agreeing with them. Oh yeah, I had a boyfriend at that time. Sometimes he would stay there. And oh yeah, there's another woman. She has a boyfriend. Sometimes she would stay there. Or She's the one that told the police that she was sleeping on the couch. She would sleep on the couch across from the defendant. And there's no talk of any other strange men in this house up until Mr. Callahan starts asking her about it. And you know what? When you listen to those calls again with the mother, you're never, ever, ever, ever going to hear the mom complaining in the context of Sabrina can't know because Sabrina was here with me when this happened. You're never going to hear her talk about, oh, there were other strange men in this house. Maybe they were coming and going. Oh no, somebody else staying in this house accidentally got my son caught up in this when they decided to just take an 8-minute walk that night, 5 in the morning. And then the defendant tried to say that, oh, Miss Bates, the defendant doesn't even live on Buckingham, right? He doesn't live there. It's not even his house. But you know, going back to 2018, that's been his address. They have no other record of him living anywhere else. The mom in the call actually refers to not going back over on Buckingham. And then the defendant, in his statement to the police, actually refers to Buckingham as his home. There is a reason the defense wants to distance themselves from Buckingham, because that 8-minute video, that clip, that's a problem. It's a big problem. All right, we're going to talk about these calls. The first one is on June 12th. This is after the defendant is taken into custody. The first clip you're going to hear involves the mom. Now the mom in this first clip is complaining about how everybody out there is talking about how the defendant is dating. Now this is defendant's worst fears, right? He knows how his mom is going to feel. Later on in this call, you are going to hear mom when he says, oh, I told them I was gay to get rid of the hate crime stuff. She does walk it back. She kind of pauses and she's like, all right, you know you can come to me. But her initial reaction to defendant is, oh, you know everybody is out here saying you're gay, that's pissing me off. And what is the defendant? Yeah, that's pissing me off too. That's pissing me off too. Don't let me get out and hear that. Now, do you remember when when we were talking about how when you confront your child and your child watches you watch them do something wrong, child knows, mom knows, child did something wrong, but it's just this reflexive, it's not me, I didn't do it. So mom is going off about him being gay, and he's like, yeah, that pisses me off too. Don't let me get out and hear them be saying that. And then she's going on about how people are coming up to her, some random girls talking about how he's the shooter, and she's saying, you just can't say that my child's a shooter. He's like, I didn't, Mom. And then it keeps going on. So let's listen to that call first, and then we're going to listen to the rest of the call, okay?
I know.
They don't give a fuck. That's right, bro.
Friday, though.
They don't give a fuck about you. You feel me? I wish I could remember that motherfucking lawyer name that Kevin had.
Right.
Because he was a cold ass,
Quarter pointer.
hell yeah.
I forget his name, too.
Yeah, everybody making me mad, trying to.
Thank you.
Okay, at this time, we are watching closing arguments here at the trial of Devon Kareem Robinson, who
I'm telling you
killed
that shit now.
LGBT. Let's go.
I know.
They don't give a fuck. That's right, bro.
On Friday, though.
They don't give a fuck about you. You feel me? I wish I could remember that motherfucking lawyer name that Kevin had.
Right.
Because he was a cold ass,
Quarter pointer.
hell yeah.
I forget his name, too.
Yeah, everybody making me mad, trying to say, you fucked with the niggas, and you know everybody out here trying to act like you gay, right?
Yeah.
That shit pissing me off.
And don't let me be out. It's gonna piss me all the way off. You talk to Chris, man.
Then they trying to make it seem like it's a hate crime. And I'm like, motherfuckers, man, this shit so fucking crazy, dog. I work with these motherfuckers. People, a girl walked up to me saying she been knowing you forever. And she could, and like I told her, y'all can't just say my son pulled the fucking trigger. You feel me?
Right. You said girl walked up to you and said she knew me forever.
Yeah.
And she know how I am. People who know me know how I am.
She was like, I would have never thought Little Devil would have did something like that.
I did.
Alright, then it's gonna switch. There's this talk about the defendant. There's no evidence of coming home by Friday. Now this is gonna be this common theme throughout all the calls of if there's no evidence, wait for it. You're gonna hear mom saying, we're gonna pray for the best. You're gonna hear uncle asking, is it good or is it bad? You're gonna hear the sister saying, you need to think about if there's any more witnesses. So as we go through this, you're the whole family here. It's never, oh no, poor Devin. It's, let's wait and see what they have at the conclusion of this case. So in the next clip that we're going to play, he's saying if there's no evidence, and mom, because they're waiting for this preliminary exam, and mom is saying, well, at least you don't have a co-defendant. They're talking about David on the brother. In his case, they didn't really have any evidence, but, he had that co-defendant to worry about. In this case, you don't got that to worry about. That means there isn't a second person that can roll over on you and tell on you.
I'll probably be dressed like a Muslim without it.
Right.
That's why I'm
But
be
they
there
should.
too.
Look, if it ain't no evidence to charge me by my court date, they gotta let me go.
Not necessarily, Devin. You just can't do what that guy did. Because they ain't had nothing against him. And he pled to that shit, but you ain't got to worry about no co-defendant. You feel me? That's what he was worried about. His co-defendant.
Right. I told the police I was gay.
Okay.
Yeah. So that should be out the window, that hate crime shit.
Mm-hmm.
That's where that's coming from.
My thing is, if you ever felt like that way or something, don't be never afraid to come to me with that shit. Don't keep that kind of shit from me.
I'm not. You know I'm not.
But I don't even see it. Marty said the same shit. Marty said, I fuck with your baby. That nigga ain't gay.
Did you talk to Chris?
I told you I ain't talked to him. That's why he has to come by.
So this is a defendant, again, not wanting to acknowledge to mom about him being gay. Right? And mom is the one who has been complicit in his hiding out for this last week and a half. Mom knows what's up. She doesn't want to know what's up, but she knows. So the next clip we're going to play, you're going to hear the mom saying, we ain't going back over on Buckingham. Okay? This residence for the defense so badly wants to distance themselves from. And you're going to hear these next two clips where mom is complaining about Sabrina. She's furious that Sabrina has talked to the police and they haven't gotten their discovery packet yet. So they don't know exactly what kind of information Sabrina has given to the police. And mom's worried about it, and he's worried about it, and they're talking about, let's wait and see what we have. And mom is going off, she can't say she's a witness, she can't be a witness, she's in the house with me at the time. Bitch, how are you going to say you're a witness when you're at home with me when this is happening? And you're never going to hear the defendant say, yeah, I was with you too. And you're never going to hear mom say, yeah, you were with us too. It's just, we have rallied the troops, we have taken care of the defendant, and this woman is talking to the police, and it's a problem. And so they're waiting for the outcome of that.
How y'all helping this bitch so I can be safe when I'm on my way home?
Right.
We ain't going back to Buckingham.
I know.
That bitch Sabrina said some shit. I was trying to figure out. That bitch Sabrina talked to the police like 2 hours, dog. That bitch Sabrina talked to the at least for like 2 hours. I don't know what the fuck she said to him, but when we get this discovery pack, we don't know exactly what she said to him. And she told, the one is, she told him they said she was a witness. But I'm like, how the fuck is she a witness? When you was at the crib sleep, bitch, you running your mouth, the bitch is trying to get some money or something. I'm telling you, dog. Well, I don't know. How y'all? None of that. I know, because I know nothing she saying. I ain't even worried about nothing like that, because, bitch, I know you was in the house where I was at, so you can't witness to shit. Right. Oh, my fucking God.
Then this call goes on, and you're going to hear the defendant in this case talking with his mom about potential penalties. And the mom and him are both talking about what kind of penalties murder can bring. Okay? And the mom is, we're just going to pray for the best, and you're going to hear the defendant, it comes down to it, they say like 25 years, if it comes down to it. He's talking about, he knows what he's facing, and if he can get a 25-year plea, he's going to consider taking it.
7. And that bitch can even run concurrent or back to back to back to back. Yeah. We just got break for the best. That's why I said, if it comes down to it, they say 25, something like that. If it comes down to it. Man. I got go on the out the motherfuckers on Facebook, and that's why I stay off of there, you feel me, because that shit too much for me, and I can't take it, and I be open my big mouth, I've been trying to open my mouth, you feel me, and just sit back and, all these.
You know, after this clip, you can listen to this again when you go in the back. We're actually going to give you a laptop, so you will have access to everything. You can watch everything as much as you want. You can listen to everything as much as you want. After this point in the call, this is when the defendant, he starts to get emotional talking to mom, and he's apologizing for putting y'all through this. Now, when he shows this emotion, yes, it's good to see and show some emotion and humanity. But I want you to realize that that is only for himself. That empathy is for himself because he's caught, and he's scared because he's caught, and he feels bad for putting his mom in this situation. It's not, I can't believe I'm in here, I'm totally innocent, I didn't do this. It's, I'm sorry for putting y'all through this. Okay? And I want you to remember back to when you watched that video of him talking to the police on June 5th. He was Mr. Tough Guy then. He's talking about being engaged with someone who has been violently murdered, and there is no emotion, there is no empathy, there is no care for those individuals in the house that were killed. He doesn't show any emotion for them, but he does, at this point after he's caught, show it for himself. The next clip you're going to hear, he's complaining about somebody had to give up his location, and mom is complaining that he wasn't being careful enough being outside in those red shorts.
Somebody has to tell them my location too. So you were being outside too much.
Your mom knows. Mom knows. Now they're being careful on these calls because they're being recorded. And it's a hard thing to talk about, but at no time do you hear the mom saying, you were here with me when this happened. And you don't hear the defendant saying that either. Because mom knows. So much so that she tried to hide him, and she's mad at him for not being more careful when he's supposed to be in hiding. The next two calls are going to be to the uncle and to the sister. One of them is on June 15th. The one with the girl is going to be in between those preliminary exam dates. Remember, you heard testimony that at the preliminary exam, that probable cause hearing in front of the judge. The first day is just the two witnesses. It's Blair and Armand. And then the next day, it's going to be the video. She hasn't seen that, hasn't been called. So it's the video that you see, that 8 minutes, that between 4:53 and 5:01. And there's this concern now about another witness. Now, the defendant knows he was wearing a mask, and you're going to hear him in the last call representing that there's only two witnesses, but there's concern. Again, the sister, is there anybody else that we need to be worried about? The defendant's like, no, it's just a video. And you're going to hear him at the end of the call, that third call, saying, well, we're going to know either way where we stand. We're going to know either way how it's going to shake out at the end when we get back in the court next time. And again, you're not going to hear him say, this is a travesty. I can't believe I'm here. I'm totally innocent. It's all about, let's wait and see what they have. Now, before we play those clips, remember, defendant wore a mask to that house. And you have Blair sitting on that stand, and Blair tells you that it's the defendant. And he tells you that he did not say that initially. He tells you that after a couple days, and he was hysterical in that call. He had just witnessed his friend brutally murdered, trying to tell the police what happened. He was totally hysterical. But then he does come back and says, look, the shooter, just like the guy we picked up at the gas station with the light skin and the eyes. And then he got really frustrated up here trying to testify and be cross-examined because he knows what happened to him. So you can question his identification all you want, but you have to take that identification into account with all of the other evidence in this case. Okay? This happened to him. He is in the best position to tell you what happened in that house at night because he survived it, he lived it, and to have to sit there and be cross-examined and questioned that you don't know what you saw, you don't know what happened to you. Yeah, he lost it. Blew up. What do we have to do to make you see that he's responsible for this? He survived. And he has to sit in a courtroom with the person that murdered his friends and almost killed him. That is terrifying. And when you think about Blair's testimony and his identification, I want you to think about these last two calls. Because it's all calculated. It's all about, let's see what they have. Is it bad? Is it good? They're trying to be careful again because they're being recorded. But it's all calculated. See what they have. Let's start with that next clip from Chico, or two.
So he said he don't know much about much. Yeah, he told me somewhat. He told me what Sabrina said. Was that bad or good? It wasn't really nothing. Oh, so he read her statement. Yeah, she just basically said I had her phone. Yeah, she kept talking about that damn phone.
It's important to realize that he's talked to his attorney, Mr. Callan, at this point about what Sabrina said. They haven't physically seen the paper yet because they don't have the discovery packet yet. He's relying on what his attorney has told him about that statement. So the only information that has gotten to him now is about that phone. They don't know yet that we're tracking her down, trying to get her to testify regarding when he left the neighborhood and the timing of that. So they don't know about any of this yet. But they're concerned. He definitely wanted to know what Sabrina said. And again, it's never, I didn't do this. I'm not worried about anything she said. It's, let's just wait and see what we have.
What's about this new witness and shit? You talking to your lawyer about that?
It's a video.
No, bro. No, it's not.
What new witness they talking about then?
Bro, I don't know for sure. I'm hearing shit. I don't know.
You know before we left out the courtroom, right?
Right. Listen to me though, bro. Listen to me, bro. I don't know, but it's not no video. If it's a video, they got a video and another person. I know for sure they got a person, bro.
Oh, my mama gotta get on the stand.
Your mama?
Yeah, she gotta get on the stand. That's why they put her out the courtroom.
Oh, okay.
Because she a witness. That's the only witness I can think of. Those the only two witnesses.
All right, bro, but that's all you can think of, and leave that there.
Right.
And that's what it is. Period. But just think. Don't overthink this shit, but just think, bro. And I don't know. But
my lawyer gonna come visit me tomorrow or Monday. Huh?
Yeah, that's okay. You need to holler at your lawyer though for sure.
Right, that's why I need the money on the phone so I can call his ass.
Right. The motherfuckers be talking, they be talking about it, then shit gets spread around and bitch off the bullshit because motherfuckers get talking.
Right. And we know Tuesday, we know.
Right with it, right, exactly. So she's gonna come out either or, but I
This call, his sister's pushing him. You need to think. Is there anyone else? He knows how many people were in that house. He knows who's wearing masks. He hasn't gotten to see this video that we have yet, and he hasn't heard from Sabrina yet. And sister, what's she doing? It's not, oh, this is terrible, and how can you be in here? And he's not saying, oh, this is terrible. How can I be in here? It wasn't me. It's just, let's wait and see. Let's wait and see how it's all going to shake on Tuesday. We'll know then how this is all going to shake out. This happened because the defendant didn't want anyone to know about his sexuality. He went home that night and he knew that they were all going to be talking. It was all going to be all over the neighborhood. You heard even Armand tell you he moved out of that neighborhood because he didn't feel like he could be a gay male in that neighborhood. And I know you're gonna hear about how the mom has a girlfriend and how the sister has a girlfriend too. The reality is, for this family, it is different for men. And you hear that from the defendant's mouth. It's the thing. Everybody was going to know. Everybody was going to find out. My mom was going to find out. My dad was going to disown me. He came home that night, right after this happened, after spitting and gagging, and went into his house and didn't know what to do because this oral sex with multiple men is about to be all over the neighborhood. And so he makes an even stupider decision to get dressed in black clothing, head down towards Brunswick, over to Devonshire, kill all these people, come running back out towards Buckingham, back in the house. Again, you would have to believe, after all of this, that some random person went for an 8-minute walk at the exact time of the shooting. That's not what happened. This is the defendant. The defendant did this. And then after doing that and realizing all the police that were coming to the neighborhood got out of there, and his family circled around him and they did not cooperate, and they did not talk to the police, and they did not say anything to anyone until someone gave a tip to the police, and they found him hiding out on the other side of the city. And then he tells you about how he didn't want people to find out. And he only admits to things when he believes that the officers are telling him the truth, like about finding DNA. But he'll only admit what he has to, right? Because he's not going to talk about having oral sex with other people in that house, even though his DNA is on Timothy Blanchard. And then it's him on these jail calls repeatedly. What is the family saying? We're going to pray for the best. We're going to wait and see what they have. Defendant saying, if it comes down to it, I'll consider a 25-year plea. I'm sorry I put y'all through this. I'm going to have one more time to address you. And when I do, I'm going to ask that you hold the defendant responsible for killing 3 people in that house and for almost killing 2 others. Thank you.
Can we have this taken down? Attorney Callahan.
Okay, so what we are watching is the live, we are watching the closing arguments on this trial that is happening on the social media network right now, where the man went in and killed members of the LGBTQ community. Right now, we was watching the prosecutor, and now we're about to hear the defense. As you can see, the defense there, Devon Kareem Robinson right there. We're about to listen to the defense on his arguments. Let's go in.
Good morning. I'd like to thank, on behalf of Mr. Robinson, all of you for being here this morning.
Can y'all not hear him?
Crisis.
What does he say? Can he speak up a little bit louder?
Whether or not maybe 1 or 2 wouldn't show up. Keeping my fingers crossed that everyone would show up. But was assured somewhat by the fact that all of you sat very attentively last week, and I'm sure you gave your 100% thought focus.
He need to speak up because I can't hear him.
In that witness chair as this matter unfolded. And, I consider it like the greatest privilege on the face of this earth to be able to stand in front of you and represent somebody.
If y'all have any comments or any suggestions or your viewpoint on this, hit me up in the comments. I'll post it up here on the show. If you have any, what have you heard so far? What have you, your thoughts on what you heard so far on the prosecutor giving her part on what happened? This here is the defense lawyer. I'll shut up now.
Make the people prove each and every element beyond reason. That is not a simple task. I'll be the first to admit it. And there's another consideration, a couple of them actually, that have to be accounted for. And that is, as we start this process a week ago today, as we've gone through it over the past week, there's a presumption of innocence. Throughout this entire trial, Mr. Devin Robinson has been, should have been, presumed innocent. No judgments should have been made at any time prior to the conclusion of this trial. We're confident and thankful that you afforded him his rights. So, I've got my take on the evidence here, and I think that it differs substantially from the prosecutors. I don't believe they have proven beyond reasonable doubt that it was Devin Robinson that committed this crime. You've got testimony of Clifton Keys, Blair. You know, at 10:30 that night, there's an incident with a neighbor, loud noises, 911 is called. How many people were at that house in Devonshire at the time? 10, 15 people. We heard testimony throughout the course of the trial, different estimates from the different participants, but it ranged earlier.
Maybe get some of that static out, because I can't hear.
Shortly after the incident between the houses, there's an incident near a gas station right next to a house. And what's happening? This woman's watching people outside her window perform oral sex to another man on the hood of a car. They're dancing nude. And she fires the gun. Now, it's one thing to have a party. But I'm going to suggest to you that the partying that was going on this particular evening was really over the top. Everybody goes back to the house in Devonshire. We don't know. You don't know who was there at 10:30, 11 o'clock. You don't know what happened at 10:30, 11 o'clock between this guy and this guy, between this guy and this guy. You don't know what happened after the people came back from next to that house, because there were 3 people plus 2 others that they couldn't name. And you don't know what happened with these people, or that they knew where Devonshire was, or that they lived on Devonshire. Now we get into this whole gas station thing. You see a video of a light, an individual in a white clothing going to a gas station. You know, the defendant's seen at the gas station. The defendant's seen talking with Harris. The defendant admits he went over there and he participated in the conduct that was going on that night. it, right? We're not here. You're not here to judge the morality of Mr. Robinson. You're not here to judge the morality of the victims or the people involved. We're not here to demonstrate any type of sympathy because maybe they're gay or transgender. We're here to determine whether the proofs have established beyond a reasonable doubt whether he committed these crimes. And if you stop and you think about the way the prosecution's proceeded in this matter, they want you to infer just about everything here. I mean, admittedly, there's no gun. Admittedly, there's no fingerprints. Admittedly, there's nothing on the DNA that would suggest that he may have committed that crime. He may have been that good. There isn't testimony from one person, not one, who would say that Devin Robinson told I did it. There isn't one. There isn't any testimony from anybody that would say, I saw Devin Robinson shoot and kill. You know, Blair, Clifton Keys, stop and think about his testimony. Stop and think about what he said. The evening that this occurred, in the early evening hours, when they met at the gas station, what's he say about the defendant? Well, I noticed that he was wearing a baseball hat and a jacket, but other than that, I really didn't pay that much attention to him. All right, Lance, excuse me, Blair then drives home, you know, and the defendant walks up the street, Harris greets him, Lance stays in the car. Lance, Blair stays in the car because he's a little bit irritated over the fact that he's lost his wallet. Harris takes the defendant into the house. They go into the house, and Blair says, he didn't spend that much time up there with, up to this point in time, not very much time with the defendant. And then Blair says, well, Lance got in the car with me and we were talking, and he touched me inappropriately, and I got angry about that, and I went in the house, and all the boys were healing about the defendant being gay. And they all participated in this. And then we go.
Okay, we might be
Lance
experiencing
get into a fight, and I think
volume
I might
control.
have parties mixed up. All I know is that Brendan got into an argument with Armand because supposedly Brendan saw Armand giving head to the defendant, and Blair gets into it with Brendan, and the emotions are like flying high, and everybody is drunk, and everybody is high, and that doesn't matter. You know, that's their own personal experiences. Alcohol or drugs don't help you out in these such situations at all. And a couple guys go up to the gas station, they find his wallet, they come back, they're all sitting around, they hear footsteps. Okay, hear footsteps, pow, 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 out the door. Call 911. Did you see who the shooter was? Answer, no. listened to the 911 tape. We listened. He heard that on direct examination. They played it for him. On cross-examination, I asked him, well, didn't you tell the 911 operator that you didn't know who did the shooting? No, I didn't say it. Well, we played it back, and there it was. Bold as bold could be. Do you know who did the shooting? No. That night, he gave a written statement. Do you know who did the shooting? No. 3 days later, he gives another written statement. Oh, he was wearing a black ski mask, the skin, the eyes, and I believe it's the defendant. I believe it's this man here. Since based on that, I could say that he's the one that did it. You know, the problem with that, ladies and gentlemen, is that was May 28th. On November 6th, I need my notes now. I'm sorry. On November 6th, at the preliminary examination, the last time before we get to a trial, while under oath, while being questioned by the prosecutor, question, can you see the shooter? Do you see him shooting? Answer, I really didn't look. Honestly. Unbelievable. Honestly, I really didn't look. He didn't look. Honestly, he didn't look. The other eyewitness to the shooting admits he didn't see the shooter. It's Mr. Armand Matthews. Somebody just came in and shot my friends, I think. The neighbor did it. I was behind a wall. I didn't see the shooter. Video. See the defendant at the gas station. You know that the defendant went to Devonshire. He admits that. The mystery here relates to what happens between 4 and 5 o'clock in the morning. They want you to assume, they want you to infer that the person in black had to be the defendant. Let's think about this for a second. There isn't anything in the record to support that. Fact. The video itself does not reveal the identity of the person wearing black. It doesn't. It's only by supposition. If I were to ask the question, who is that person in black? I think the only possible explanation that you can give is, I don't know. Or what is it? I think maybe it could be the defendant. Hold on a second here. What? You're going to think. They're going to ask you to think that it's the defendant. The burden is beyond a reasonable doubt. You're just thinking that it could be him isn't good enough. You have got to have an abiding conviction to a moral certainty that it's him. Who is the person in black? I don't know. was at the house at 5:01 or whatever time it was he got back, who could have possibly gone over there? You know, they talk in terms of him as if he had a motive. Now, we didn't hear anything about motive through evidence or in their opening statement. Today is the first time you hear about motive. Oh, the motive is that they're going to blab all over the neighborhood that he participated in gay conduct. Stop and think for just a minute, will you please, about the testimony regarding the defendant and how it was that he left that evening. He didn't threaten anybody. He didn't swear at anybody. He didn't say, oh, I'm ashamed of what I did. He was a willing participant. He has got absolute no reason in the world to go and shoot 3 individuals. And the way they approach this is, well, you didn't hear him say, I didn't do it. You know, had he said on any conversation, I didn't do it, they'd be standing here telling you, oh, he's staging that. Ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about real people. We're talking about real circumstances here. This young man sees his picture on the television. Whoops, I am in a boatloader truck. I'm screwed. I was the last one at that party, you know. I mean, I'm glad I wasn't there. God forbid be the last one at that party, because guess what? You're getting blamed. Here we go. They say, why didn't he ever say anything like I didn't do it? You know, he never admitted he did anything. He's a 19-year-old young man. He is a human being. He's taken into police custody. And what did he do? Our professional police force, by the way, you know, sometimes I get a little bit loud and I get a little bit upset sometimes over police conduct. All right? And this is a good example of it. We're professional. We do things professional. First question, did you lie to the defendant? Yeah, that's okay. Well, in your world, it's okay, I guess, the law permits it. But in my world, I don't like it. I don't like it. You don't have to like it either. What did they do? What did they do? They came at this kid, this inexperienced kid, with everything they had, using every blasted tactic that they know. Oh, we know what you did. We know. We got DNA. They don't have any DNA. They don't know what he did. They waited for him to tell. Oh, catch this one, okay? This is one of my favorites here. Just tell us what happened. We're going to go to the prosecutor's office and we're going to be advocates for you. Oh, man, it's so deep at this point in time, it stinks to high heaven. It stinks. And despite each and every tactic that they used, he politely and he calmly they make it sound as if he has some burden to produce something here. You know, prosecutor said, they make reference to, and they're critical of him for saying, well, let's wait and see what they got. Let's get to the discovery pad and see what they say. Let me tell you something. If you're sitting in his shoes, that's exactly what was the first thing he said to his mother? If they haven't got any evidence, Mom, I could come over and fight it. She says, oh, no, not so quick, Daddy. You know, the system latches on. I'm here to tell you, regardless of these constitutional rights we have, it's not going down. I'll be all the way. Now I want to stress to you, the most emphatic way I can, that the greatest police don't give in to a hunch. Stand firm in your conviction that they have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt. Don't let them get away with less. Tips. How good is a tip? How many tips for you? Effectively, the fact that all the tips they say related to beans. You know, and tip, I don't care. You know, I'll call the police and I'll give them some tips too. Maybe you should do. Bring it out, please. Don't have me this kind of crap. Tip was one. What was the tip? Today. I didn't hear anybody say the tip was that David Robinson went in and shot and killed these guys. Maybe I'm mistaken here, but I don't put much stock in their tip evidence. I don't put much stock in their video evidence, and it's not my fault. The motion activated camera didn't click on when somebody walked into the house, and I just think that it's possible. It's possible. They don't know who did this. You know, they're in the business trying to open and shut cases. I want to see the justices by myself. But I don't want you to give in. I don't want you to go in there and come out as to what I think. I think maybe he did it when there's obviously distinct other possibilities that exist. And I'll go back to my baseball. You can't assume that just because the Tigers win on one hit that it's a home run. You can't assume here. Based on those videos, that it must have been David Robinson that did this. And that translates to reasonable doubt. All right. I'm going to be 68 years old this week. And this whole coronavirus thing here, you know, I've got a heart condition.
What does the coronavirus have to do with this trial?
Respiratory problems. And I'm thinking to myself, man, if the jury's got the best three down there, I better have to get down there too.
Just find him guilty.
You know,
Evidence is there.
I hope that this whole scare doesn't make you want to just quickly resolve. I'm hoping that, you know, and I praise you for your courage.
All right, so
Being scared, pushing buttons are all here, right? Thank you very much for your attention to this. God bless each and every one of you.
okay, we are.
Prosecutor Rebuttal.
Oh, we're gonna listen to a rebuttal. Listen to a rebuttal.
We're in the business.
Okay, thank you.
Shannon, I told you that we are in the business of opening and shutting cases. No, we are in the business of justice. We are in the business of helping families who have lost their loved ones. We are in the business of getting the right person. Nobody wants somebody who has murdered 3 people wandering around on the street and not being caught. We want safety. We want the right person. That's why we look at all of the evidence in the case. Mr. Callahan said to you, oh, well, of course he was afraid to talk to police because it was all over the news, and that's why he went into hiding. He left before any of this hit the news. He got out of that neighborhood before that video was released to try to identify the person who was in that store. He was already gone. His family was already helping. They were already shutting it down to be in lockstep together. And that interview with the defendant, he's just some kid. He was hard in that interview. Sat down, I don't know why I'm here. I don't really know why I'm here. And then every time they would ask him a question, he would laugh, put his hands behind his head. And yeah, they lie to him. They tell him, we got your DNA. And what does he say? Then he starts making some admissions. Oh, well, Paris did jacklegs. That makes sense. I better admit to that. And I'm all over the news with Paris. So I want you to, if you want to watch that interview again, watch how hard he is in that interview. And then watch how he talks with his family about what happened in this case. This was a very personal shooting. This wasn't like a drive-by shooting. This wasn't somebody walking by the house, firing into the house. This was a go in, take everyone out so they can't talk about what happened in this case. Very personal shooting. And as to motive, there's no evidence as to motive. It's the defendant himself who gives you the motive. He's the one who brings it up in there. When he's talking to police, he's like, well, it's the thing. Everybody finding out. Everybody finding out. Don't nobody know. Well, everybody knows now because he left 2 people alive. Let's talk about that video. At 8 minutes. 8 minutes. The defendant wants you to believe that somebody in that house just took an 8-minute loss at the exact same time as there was a mass death happening in Devonshire. Defendant would have to be the unluckiest person in the world for somebody to have taken an 8-minute walk from his house at the exact same time of the shooting, when you know that he was worried about everybody finding out what had happened in that house that night. The fact of the matter is, this is a fact. I'm not asking you to guess. The fact is, he was in that house. He was sickened by what happened. He was worried about his family finding out. And the fact is, you do see someone leaving that house, and it's the defendant. Sabrina and the mother, in this case, when you go back and listen to those calls, not one time are you going to hear them complaining about somebody else leaving that house that night, or other men coming in and out, and oh my gosh, this got their son cut out. There are admissions in this case. You've got the defendant who knows he's being recorded, who knows that he's being listened to, talking about taking a 25-year plea. Talking about, I'm sorry I put y'all through this. So yes, we do know who walked out of that house for those 8 minutes during the exact time of shooting. It wasn't anybody else. There's no evidence on this record that anybody else in that house had any problems with anyone over on Devonshire, or even had any contact with anyone over on Devonshire. Just the defendant. And they know that video is a problem, and that's why they tried to walk back Sabrina, and that's why they even tried to challenge the fact that he lived in that house. There's a reason for that. And not only that, the defendant is the only one who got out of the neighborhood right after this shooting. Just the defendant. There is no evidence on this record that anybody else went back to that house that night and committed this crime. The only evidence in this case points exactly to the defendant. Not asking you to guess. It's a fact that Blair says it's him. It's a fact there's a video, that 8-minute video. It's a fact that the defendant flees. It's a fact that the defendant's family knows that he's on the lam. It's a fact that his mom is upset that he went out on that porch and got himself caught. It's a fact that she's saying to him, we're just going to pray for the best. It's a fact that the uncle's like, oh, remember what Sabrina said? Is it good or bad? If you go back and listen to that call, you're going to hear him say early in that call, I know you can't really talk right now. That's because it's being recorded. But they're still trying to assess what we have. It is a fact that everyone who talks to the defendant on the calls, his family, those people complicit in him hiding out, are worried about the evidence in this case. Now, if you go back there and say this is not enough, I want you to listen to what the defendant himself says. If it comes down to it, 25-year plea, I'm sorry for putting y'all through this. Mom, we're going to hope for the best. And I want you to think about that interaction with her and Sabrina. She can't be a witness because she's here with me when that's happening. Wouldn't this have been a good time to say, I know it wasn't you, son, because you were here with me too? Or the defendant could say, I was at home with y'all. They can't say that because he's the one taking that 8-minute walk over to Devonshire to kill all of those people. So you can't discount the identification. You can't discount the video. You can't discount the fact that he took off. And you can't discount the fact that when you listen to those calls, that family knew exactly what happened. And they are counting on the fact that they can play you for fools. 3 people lost their life in this case. Yeah, we want the right person. Because 2 people survived and had to be brave enough to come in here and face him down. So I'm going to ask you to go in there and do all the work. Look at all the evidence in this case. And hold the defendant responsible for first-degree premeditated murder for Alonzo Davis, for Timothy Blanchard, for Paris Cameron, 2 counts of assault with intent to murder for Blair, and for Armand, who watched their friends die and tried to save their lives, and for those companion counts of felony firearm for using a firearm in the commission of those murders and assaults. Thank you.
Members of the jury, the evidence and arguments in this case are finished, and now I will now instruct you on the law. That is, I will explain the law that applies to this case. Remember that you have taken an oath to return a true and just verdict based only on the evidence and my instructions.
Okay, so now since the prosecutor and the defense team has already now given their arguments, the judge is now instructing the jury people on instructions, and now they're going to go back and deliberate to see if there is a guilty or not guilty verdict in this case.
What you decide about any fact in this case.
You're looking at a live coverage of closing arguments in the Devon Kareem Robinson murder trial of 3 LGBTQI members he shot and killed.
I have already given you some instructions about the law. You must take all my instructions together as the law you are to follow. You should not pay attention to some instructions and ignore others. To sum up, it is your job to decide what the facts of the case are, to apply the laws I given to you, and in that way to decide this case. A person accused of a crime is presumed to be innocent. This means that you must start with the presumption that the defendant is innocent. This presumption continues throughout the trial and entitles the defendant to a verdict of not guilty unless you are satisfied beyond a reasonable doubt that he is guilty. Every crime is made up of parts called elements. The prosecutor must prove each element of the crime beyond a reasonable doubt. The defendant is not required to prove his innocence or to do anything. If you find that the prosecutor has not proven every element beyond a reasonable doubt, then you must find the defendant not guilty. A reasonable doubt is a fair, honest doubt growing out of the evidence or lack of evidence. It is not merely an imaginary or possible doubt, but a doubt based on reason and common sense. A reasonable doubt is just that, a doubt that is reasonable after a careful and considered examination of the facts and circumstances of this case. Every defendant has the absolute right not to testify. When you decide this case, you must not consider the fact that he did not testify. It must not affect your verdict in any way. When you discuss the case and decide on your verdict, you may only consider the evidence that was properly admitted in this case. Therefore, it is important for you to understand what is evidence and what is not evidence. Evidence includes only the sworn testimony of the witnesses, the exhibits admitted into evidence, and anything else I told you to consider as evidence. Many things are not evidence, and you must be careful not to consider them as such. I will now describe some of the things that are not evidence. The fact that the defendant is charged with a crime and is on trial is not evidence. Likewise, the fact that he is charged with more than one crime is not evidence. The lawyer's statements and arguments are not evidence. They are only meant to help you understand the evidence and each side's legal theories. You should only accept things the lawyers say that are supported by the evidence or by your own common sense and general knowledge. The lawyer's questions to the witnesses are also not evidence. You should consider these questions only as they give meaning to the witnesses' answers. My rulings, comments, or questions and instructions are also not evidence. It is my duty to see that the trial is conducted in accordance with the law and to tell you the law that applies to this case. However, when I make a comment or give an instruction, I am not trying to influence your vote or express a personal opinion about the case. If you believe that I have an opinion about how you should decide this case, you must pay no attention to that opinion. You are the only judges of the facts, and you should decide this case from the evidence. At times during the trial, I have excluded evidence that was offered or stricken testimony that was heard. Do not consider those things in deciding the case. Make your decision only on the evidence that I let in and nothing else. Your decision should be based on all the evidence regardless of which party produced it. You should use your own common sense and general knowledge in weighing and judging the evidence, but you should not use any personal knowledge you may have about a place, person, or event. To repeat once more, you must decide this case based only on the evidence admitted during the trial. As I said before, it is your job to decide what the facts of this case are. You must decide which witnesses you believe and how important you think their testimony is. You do not have to accept or reject everything a witness said. You are free to believe all, none, or part of any person's testimony. In deciding which testimony you believe, you should rely on your own common sense and everyday experience. However, in deciding whether you believe a witness's testimony, you must set aside any bias or prejudice you may have based on the race, gender, or national origin of the witness. There is no fixed set of rules for judging whether you believe a witness, but it may help you to think about the following questions. Was the witness able to see or hear clearly? How long was the witness watching or listening? Was anything else going on that might have distracted the witness? Did the witness seem to have a good memory? How did the witness look and act while testifying? Did the witness seem to be making an honest effort to tell the truth, or did the witness seem to evade the questions or argue with the lawyers? Does the witness's age and maturity affect how you judge his or her testimony? Does the witness have any bias, prejudice, or personal interest in how this case is decided? Have there been any promises, threats, suggestions, or other influences that affected how the witness testified? In general, does the witness have any special reason to tell the truth or any special reason to lie? All in all, how reasonable does the witness's testimony seem when you think about all the other evidence in this case? Sometimes the testimony of different witnesses will not agree, and you must decide which testimony you accept. You should think about whether the disagreement involves something important or not, and whether you think someone is lying or simply mistaken. People see and hear things differently, and witnesses may testify honestly but simply be wrong about what they thought they saw or remembered. It is also a good idea to think about which testimony agrees best with the other evidence in the case. However, you may conclude that a witness deliberately lied about something that is important to how you decide the case. If so, you may choose not to accept anything that witness said. On the other hand, if you think the witness lied about some things but told the truth about others, you may simply accept the part you think is true and ignore the rest. When you go to the jury room, you will be provided with a copy of the final jury instructions. You should first choose a foreperson. The forepersons to see to it that your discussions are carried on in a businesslike way and that everyone has a fair chance to be heard. A verdict in a criminal case must be unanimous. In order to return a verdict, it is necessary that each of you agrees on that verdict. In the jury room, you will discuss the case amongst yourselves. Ultimately, each of you will have to make up your own mind. Any verdict must represent the individual considered judgment of each juror. It is your duty as jurors to talk to each other and make every reasonable effort to reach agreement. Express your opinions and the reasons for them, but keep an open mind as you listen to your fellow jurors. Rethink your opinions and do not hesitate to change your mind if you decide you were wrong. Try your best to work out your differences. However, although you should try to reach agreement, none of you should give up your honest opinion about the case just because other jurors disagree with you or just for the sake of reaching a verdict. In the end, your vote must be your own, and you must vote honestly and in good conscience. If you have any questions about the jury instructions before you begin deliberations or questions about the instructions that arise during deliberations, you may submit them in writing to one of the courtroom deputies. Possible penalty should not influence your decision. It is the duty of the judge to fix the penalty within the limits provided by the law. If you want to communicate with me while you are in the jury room, please have your foreperson write a note and give it to one of the courtroom deputies. It is not proper for you to talk directly with the judge, lawyers, court officers, or other people involved in the case. As you discuss the case, you must not let anyone, even me, know how your voting stands. Therefore, until you return with a unanimous verdict, do not reveal this to anyone outside the jury room. When you go to the jury room to deliberate, you may take your notes and a full set of instructions. If you want to look at any or all of the reference documents or exhibits that have been admitted, just ask for them. The prosecution has introduced evidence of a statement that it claims the defendant made. Before you may consider such an out-of-court statement against the defendant, you must first find that the defendant actually made the statement as given to you. If you find that the defendant did make the statement, you may give the statement whatever weight you think it deserves. In deciding this, you should think about how and when the statement was made and about all the other evidence in this case. You may consider the testimony in deciding the facts of this case. Facts can be proved by direct evidence from a witness or an exhibit. Direct evidence is evidence about what we actually see or hear. For example, if you look outside and see rain falling, that is direct evidence that it is raining. Facts can also be proved by indirect or circumstantial evidence. Circumstantial evidence is evidence that normally or reasonably leads to other facts. So, for example, if you see a person come in from outside wearing a raincoat covered with small drops of water, that would be circumstantial evidence that it is raining. You may consider circumstantial evidence by itself, or a combination of circumstantial evidence and direct evidence can be used to prove the elements of a crime. In other words, you should consider all the evidence that you believe. There has been some evidence that the defendant tried to run away, tried to hide, or actually hid after the alleged crime and the police tried to arrest him. This evidence does not prove guilt. A person may run or hide for innocent reasons such as panic, mistake, or fear. However, a person may also run or hide because of a consciousness of guilt. You must decide whether the evidence is true, and if true, whether it shows that the defendant had a guilty state of mind. You may have heard evidence that before the trial, witnesses made statements that may be inconsistent with his or her testimony here in court. You may consider an inconsistent statement made before the trial only to help you understand how believable the witness's testimony was when testifying here in court. If the earlier statement was made under oath, then you may also consider the earlier statement as evidence of the truth of whatever the witnesses said in the earlier statement when determining the facts of this case. When the lawyers agree on a statement of facts, these are called stipulated facts. You may regard the stipulated facts as true, but you are not required to do so. You may consider whether the defendant had a reason to commit the alleged crime, but a reason by itself is not enough to find a person guilty of a crime. The prosecutor does not have to prove that the defendant had a reason to commit the alleged crime. She only has to show that the defendant actually committed the crime and that he meant to do it. The prosecutor has introduced evidence about fingerprints. You may consider this evidence when you decide whether the prosecutor has proven beyond a reasonable doubt that the defendant was the person who committed the alleged crime. However, fingerprints matching the defendant's must have been found in the place the crime was committed under such circumstances that could only have been put there when the crime was committed. The defendant's intent may be proved by what he said, what he did, how he did it, or by any other facts and circumstances and evidence. You should not decide this case based on which side presented more witnesses. Instead, you should think about each witness and each piece of evidence and whether you believe them. Then you must decide whether the testimony and evidence you believe proves beyond a reasonable doubt that the defendant is guilty. You have heard that a lawyer or a lawyer's representative may have talked to one of the witnesses. There's nothing wrong with this. A lawyer or a lawyer's representative may talk to a witness to find out what the witness knows about the case and what the witness's testimony would be. You have heard testimony from several witnesses. Dr. Leigh Lavity, who offered her opinion as an expert in the field of forensic pathology. Lieutenant Hacker as an expert in the field of latent prints. Allison Rivera Paplio as an expert in the field of forensic biology, and Sergeant Dean Molnar as expert in the area of firearms and firearm tool mark identifications. Experts are allowed to give opinions in court about matters they are experts on. However, you do not have to believe an expert's opinion. Instead, you should decide whether you believe it and how important you think it is. When you decide whether you believe an expert's opinion, think carefully about the reasons and facts he or she gave for his or her opinion and whether those facts are true. You should also think about the expert's qualifications and whether his or her opinion makes sense when you think about all the other evidence in this case. You have heard testimony from witnesses who are police officers. That testimony is to be judged by the same standards you use to evaluate the testimony of any other witness. One of the issues in this case is the identification of the defendant as the person who committed the crime. The prosecutor must prove beyond a reasonable doubt that the crime was committed and that the defendant was the person who committed it. In deciding how dependable an identification is, think about such things as how good a chance the witness had to see the offender at the time, how long the witness was watching, whether the witness had seen or known the offender before, how far away the witness was, whether the area was well lighted, and the witness's state of mind at that time. Also think about the circumstances at the time of the identification, as how much time had passed since the crime, how sure the witness was about the identification, and the witness's state of mind during the identification. You may also consider any times that the witness failed to identify the defendant or made an identification or gave a description that did not agree with his identification of the defendant during trial. You should examine the witness's identification testimony carefully. You may consider whether other evidence supports the identification, because then it may be more reliable. However, you may use the identification testimony alone to convict the defendant, as long as you believe the testimony and you find that it proves beyond a reasonable doubt that the defendant was the person who committed the crime. As to counts 1, 2, and 3, the defendant is charged with the crime of first-degree premeditated murder. To prove this charge, the prosecutor must prove each of the following elements beyond a reasonable doubt. First, that the defendant caused the death of Alante Davis, Timothy Blanchard, and/or Pierce Cameron. That is, that Alante Davis, Timothy Blanchard, and/or Pierce Cameron died as a result of being shot. Second, that the defendant intended to kill Alante Davis, Timothy Blanchard, and/or Pierce Cameron. Third, that this intent to kill was premeditated, that is, thought out beforehand. Fourth, that the killing was deliberate, which means that the defendant considered the pros and cons of the killing and thought about and chose his actions before he did it. There must have been real and substantial reflection for long enough to give a reasonable person a chance to think twice about the attempt to kill. The law does not say how much time is needed. It is for you to decide if enough time passed under the circumstances of this case. The killing cannot be the result of a sudden impulse without thought or reflection. You must think about all the evidence in deciding what the defendant's state of mind was at the time of the alleged killing. The defendant's state of mind may be inferred from the kind of weapon used, the type of wounds inflicted, the acts and words of the defendant, and any other circumstances surrounding the alleged killing. You may infer that the defendant intended to kill if he used a dangerous weapon in a way that was likely to cause death. Likewise, you may infer that the defendant intended the usual results that follow from the use of a dangerous weapon. A gun is a dangerous weapon. A dangerous weapon is an instrument that is used in a way that is likely to cause serious physical injury or death. Premeditation and deliberation may be inferred from any actions of the defendant, which shows planning, or from any other circumstances surrounding the killing. The prosecutor need not prove a motive for the killing, but you may consider evidence of motive in deciding if there was premeditation and deliberation. Motive by itself does not prove premeditation and deliberation. You've heard evidence concerning the defendant's mental condition at the time of the alleged crime. It is not enough that the defendant did an act that caused death. In addition, the defendant must have had a certain state of mind when he did that act. In deciding whether the defendant had the required state of mind, you may consider all of the circumstances surrounding the alleged crime. If you have a reasonable doubt about whether the defendant had the required state of mind at the time of the alleged crime, you must find the defendant not guilty. As to counts 4 and 5, the defendant is charged with the crime of assault with intent to murder. To prove this charge, the prosecution must prove each of the following elements beyond a reasonable doubt: that the defendant tried to physically injure another person. Second, that when the defendant committed the assault, he had the ability to cause an injury, or at least believed that he had the ability. Third, that the defendant intended to kill the person he assaulted, and the circumstances did not legally excuse or reduce the crime. As to counts 5 through 10, the defendant is also charged with a separate crime of possession of a firearm at the time he committed the crime of homicide of first degree or assault with intent to murder. To prove this charge, the prosecutor must prove each of the following elements beyond a reasonable doubt. First, that the defendant committed the crime of homicide, first degree, and or assault with intent to murder, which has been defined for you. It is not necessary, however, that the defendant be convicted of that crime. Second, that at the time the defendant committed the crime, he knowingly carried or possessed a firearm. You will also be provided with a verdict form. At the time that you reach your verdict, you will be sending out a note to indicate to the court that the verdict has been reached. Please do not write on the note that you send out what your verdict is, just that you've reached a verdict if you're able to reach a verdict. Are the attorneys satisfied with the instructions that have been provided to the jury?
Okay, so we are watching closing arguments here. The jury just got the instructions, and now we will wait for a verdict. This is Verdict Watch now, and this case here where Devon Kareem Robinson is charged with killing 3 members of the LGBTQ community. And now we just watch closing arguments against the defense and the prosecutor to make their case.
14, you are thanked and excused. I do thank you for your jury service. I thank you for appearing here
On the case, and now the jury people are going to go and render a verdict.
For your service.
Okay? Okay, so at this time, I will like to,
you may enter the jury room and gather your belongings.
I would like to say, Thank you guys for tuning in to this. I do want to say that once when they have when the jury comes back, if they have any questions, if they have any comments, or if they have any, if they have, a verdict, definitely, if it's today, I will definitely bring that to you guys. Okay. So again, as I was saying, I got to go run. This is day 3. I got to go run. All right. So I didn't even know it was going to go. I haven't even covered T.S. Madison, Maddie Mob news. I haven't even covered the debt clock, but I will get that to you guys. Plus the jury people are behind me, and actually they're about to go and render their verdict. So at this time, I am going to leave it right here. And I want to thank everybody for tuning in. For more information, you guys could visit the blog page. Thank you guys, and I'll see you guys very, very soon. Peace. Oh, and also too, if the Queen's Supreme Court is live tonight, the jury will be in session, as well as, again, if there is any breaking news in this trial that we just watched right now, to close arguments, I will give that information to you guys. Okay? All right. Let's take it away. Peace.
You say you wanna try, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose. You say you wanna cry, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose. I don't know what you want. Let's have a bit of fun till I downfall. My love, if you feel like I do right now, don't say you're on the run to the other side. My love, you say you wanna try, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose. You say you wanna try, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose. You say you wanna cry, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose.